Welcome back to Second and Short. It is a Friday, August 16th, 2024. And if you're on YouTube, you can tell that things look a little bit different because Luke is back at school at UGA
Yes.
remotely. Luke, how you been? I know the first week of classes has technically started now for you as of what, yesterday?
Yeah. Well, luckily I only have Tuesday, Thursday classes,
Oh,
so
nice.
today was my first day of school. And it's dude, having four classes in one day with only 20 minutes in between is a little bit challenging, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't have my Chick-fil-A lunch or my dining hall lunch time this go round, so
Yeah, it's grueling to
yeah, a
do
little
that
bit
many
weird.
classes in a day. It sucks.
Yeah, but it's gonna be good because I'll have so many days off where I can just chill, do homework, work
Yeah.
on the podcast, all kinds of stuff. So
Fantastic. Well,
ready.
there's a lot of stuff going on. Obviously, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening to the audio, I'm sure you can tell that my voice sounds weird. I've been sick for like a couple of days, just kind of on the tail end of it. So just gonna have to bear with me. But luckily, I think I've cleared the brain fog that I had earlier this week. Because, dude,
Oh
like
man.
Monday and Tuesday, trying to work from home and just like do anything. Like it was
Yeah.
impossible. And then like I've been reading a book and I tried to read that book on Monday night and I just kind of stared at it and just could not read a word.
Yeah.
Like it was brutal.
Yeah.
I
Dude, the
hate being
brain
sick.
fog. The brain fog part of being sick is underrated. That part really sucks.
Oh, it's the worst part. It is so bad.
Yeah.
But we got a
Yeah.
lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of things that have happened over the last like day. So, um, before we get into kind of the big headlines I want to talk about, of course, we'll have an MLB recap today. Got a couple different things to talk about there. Our NFC South preview, I'm super excited for. Obviously, I don't have very much Falcons showing today, but obviously, the Falcons Build-A-Bear is right here next to me.
Got Julio behind
Actually,
you.
you know what? We'll set him right here. Yeah, I got the Julio jersey over there in the corner, and we got the Mercedes-Benz Stadium right there. But yeah, we got NFC South preview, which I'm super excited for. We had quite a bit of news over the last 2 days that changes how I looked at this division before. Um, and then we've got our Premier League season preview to go through. So we're gonna be talking kind of like top teams, relegated teams, top players, surprise players. I forgot to tell you about this, Luke, but I did do a young player of the year pick. That was just something
Oh,
I
okay.
totally forgot to include when I told you about it, but obviously you'll have some off the top of your head. And then Nathan should be getting the questions submitted very shortly. I texted him at 10 a.m. this
Oh
morning.
no.
I texted him at 10 a.m. and was like, "Hey, don't forget the questions." 4:30 rolls
Yeah.
around, and I go to check and see if there's questions. There's nothing. I texted him. He said, "Okay, I'm on it." So I'm gonna check right now, actually, while we're talking, and see if he
Okay.
posted them. Um, See, 13 minutes ago. Look at him.
Buzzer beater.
What a
Love it.
great guy. Okay, well, I'm not going to pre-look at the questions, so they're a
A
surprise to me
great
as
guy.
well. Uh, that would have been two in a row because I know like he was here with us last Thursday, so it would have been. It's been like 3 weeks since he's posted questions in there. So
Yeah.
obviously, if you'd like to replace him as posting questions, please join the Second and Short subreddit. It's
Please.
r/2nd A&D short. I know Nathan would much appreciate it if other people submitted questions. So even if you've just got one question to ask, go ahead, hop into the Reddit, pop that question in there, and we'll answer them on Thursday episodes. So make sure you get them in by Thursday afternoon. We're going to be recording at pretty regular 5 o'clock every week. So just make sure they're in before 5 o'clock, and we will answer them here on the podcast. Obviously, follow us on all of our social media accounts as well to stay up to date with everything. Also, if you want to submit your questions there, if you don't use Reddit, feel free to DM them to the accounts. On Instagram is primarily the place I'd see it.
For
So
sure.
feel
Yeah.
free to do that as well. And of course, if you're on the YouTube, subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff. Turn on the post notifications so you know what's coming. And for the podcast listeners, rate 5 stars. Give us a follow on the podcast platforms. Luke, let's start with some headlines real quick. Matthew Judon traded to the Falcons for a third-round pick. What a
Yeah.
move.
That's an awesome move.
I absolutely love
Yeah,
it. I
he's
know
he's
he's
going to
yeah, go ahead. This is going to be a
I was
problem.
just gonna
We're going to
say,
talk over each other a lot today.
yeah.
First time doing this
Uh,
remotely in months. We're going to talk over each other quite a few times. Go ahead.
so we apologize in advance, but I just wanted to say that Judon is coming to a defensive line that has really jumped leaps and bounds the past like couple of years, and I just think he's the perfect fit. That's all I wanted to say. There has been a lot of moving pieces there for the Falcons in recent years, but it hasn't really seemed to matter for them. The D line has been awesome for the Falcons the past couple of years, and Judon
Yeah.
just is going to electrify it.
Yeah, we're still not seeing the sack numbers that I want to see. I think last year as a team effort, we looked significantly better. Like 2 years ago, we were the worst defensive line in football. Like no ifs, ands, or
Yeah.
buts. Like literally one of the worst by like every metric. And when we added last year, we added Onyemata, we added Contavious Street there late into the season. Obviously, Grady
Calais
went
Campbell.
down. Calais Campbell was an offseason addition. I'm blanking on. I think he came from the Steelers. Who was it that we added from the Steelers last year?
Dupree?
Yeah, Bud Dupree. We added Bud Dupree as well. And like those guys, yes, they didn't like none of them had ridiculously good seasons. And like I said, we lost Grady later in the year. But like together, it looked really good. And then this year we go out and it's like, okay, we didn't make a ton of moves at the edge. We drafted Braylon Trice. Well, 3 days ago, Braylon Trice went down with a knee injury. He's on the IR. I don't know when he'll be back. It'll definitely be later in the season if we see him at all. And then you kind of realize like, okay, well, he added depth, but like Onyemata is kind of alone at defensive tackle. On the edges, you have Grady Jarrett and a couple of other options to rotate on the other side. And then, you have Ellis as like the strong side linebacker and all sorts of stuff. But adding Matthew Judon is like, it changes everything. It really does.
Yeah,
it really
does.
changes like the whole scope of this team when you add a 4-time Pro Bowler. Yes, he is coming off an injury, so we got him for a steal. But like, that is a hell of a job by Terry Fontenot to go out and get this trade at this point. Like, obviously, yes, he's been holding out of training camp and whatnot. He wants a new deal. But at this point, to go out and make that big of a splash at defensive end, which is the place everybody wanted you to address in the draft, that you didn't really, obviously third round, Braylon Trice, but going out and getting Matthew Judon is like massive.
Yeah, and y'all also drafted that defensive tackle out of Clemson in the second round too, right?
Rook Roro. I think that's how you say it. I don't know. He's not very good. I think Onyemata clears him for like 2 more years probably. And then he can really get in, but he'll be in the rotation. We also signed Justin Simmons to a very team-friendly deal just a couple of hours ago. I like it. He's coming off of like one of his best years at safety last year. So I certainly can't complain about that signing, especially once again late in this process. Like we're about to go into preseason week 2, and we're making these moves to like fundamentally change the defense right now, and I love it.
Yeah, I just I wonder who's gonna play free safety.
Jesse Bates has got free safety. Simmons can play strong safety, and that's most likely where he'll be.
Yeah, and I know sometimes they can get weird moving safeties around because like free safeties and strong safeties, like they're both safeties, but they do
they do very different
stuff.
Things, for
I would say,
but I think Justin Simmons primarily a strong safety. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he is. And then I know Jesse Bates is our free safety. So
okay, I always thought Justin Simmons was a free safety, but you're right. There shouldn't be that big of a problem because honestly, even if you have to move one guy, they're both just absolute dogs that I would feel like should know how to play the other safety spot. So
yes,
Falcons will be fine there.
Yeah, I definitely agree. As of right now, it's got Justin Simmons as our strong safety playing ahead of Richie Grant, who was starting there last year.
Okay, that's big for the Falcons. Wow,
yeah,
Justin Simmons and Matthew Judon. Damn.
Yeah, huge. So what I kind of wanted to get to with this is that like I don't really know how to phrase this. I'm not buying in on Terry Fontenot. Like he's not getting away with this, like everything he's done in his Falcons tenure just because he made some good moves here. But like I was so out on him, like as much as I could possibly be out on him at the end of last season. It took way too long to fire Arthur Smith. It didn't look like we had anything lined up, like all this stuff. He brings me back in with free agency. He kind of loses me with the draft. And now, like, these moves bring me back in on him again. And, like, I'd like to say that I'm beginning the season with Terry Fontenot neutral. That's how I'm looking at it right now. I'm not favoring either
Okay.
way at the moment, and I will not budge until I see how this team performs. Like, I need to see this on the field multiple times against different teams, just so I can get a gauge of what this team looks like. And then I will give Terry Fontenot his flowers at that point. But, like, all these people going out, like, as soon as they got Matthew Judon, I saw tweets being like, let Terry Fontenot cook, all this bullshit. No. Like, it's way, way, way too early to just go ahead and stake that flag in the ground.
Yeah.
Let's talk, I guess, a little bit more football here. ESPN fired Robert Griffin III.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Why?
I thought he was really good. Like, he was definitely rising up the ranks. I really liked him as a commentator. Maybe not as much as, like, an analyst, like, on TV, but he was very good. He did a lot of games for the ACC network, so I heard him call a number of Florida State games last year. I thought he was really entertaining. He was a breath of fresh air in the booth, at least. Like, I liked Robert Griffin III's involvement. Maybe not, I didn't love him on the NFL side, like where they kind of worked him in, but I liked him in the college football world in how they used him there.
He was big in making it kind of like what you said, being a breath of fresh air. He made it a lot more entertaining, especially for guys that aren't really into college football but are trying to work my way into it. Like for me, he was a good bridge of kind of like bridging the sport between entertainment for me. And that's shitty to hear. And it just kind of makes you wonder, like, especially with all the Pat McAfee stuff, like where ESPN is going to be like in 3 years.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like Robert Griffin III and, like, how he approaches his image on social media, his image on TV, like his entire public image rolls kind of in line with what ESPN has been shifting towards with things like the Pat McAfee show. Like, Robert Griffin III fits into that build. He's not a traditional media member, obviously. But, like, it is, I must point out that it is absolutely hilarious that, did you see the croissant picture from the other day?
No.
Oh, my God. Okay. Him and his wife were in Paris for the Olympics, I would assume. And he bought this ginormous croissant. Like, absolutely, like, maybe, like, this wide croissant.
Holy
it was
cow.
insane. And him and his wife took a picture with it, and his wife is just like holding it out, like acting like she's about to bite it. Robert Griffin III has this thing like deep in his mouth. That's all I'm gonna say. He was gonna take a big ass bite, is where he was at.
Yeah.
And that's like the last thing we heard about Robert Griffin III before he gets fired. Is kind of funny.
No.
Obviously, that's not the reason. Like, ESPN would not fire somebody over that. And, like, it's certainly not the craziest thing he's done.
Yeah.
But it's very funny that is the last thing that happened before he got fired.
That is pretty funny. Yeah.
Wow. All right. Last thing, like I said, there's a lot of things going on. The U.S. men's national team hired Mauricio Pochettino today. What a fucking move. Oh, my God.
If I was in the I would be begging you to do a shot right now. We did a shot for Berhalter leaving. It would only be right if we took a shot for us getting Poch.
It might be more than a shot, bro. I might be popping bottles.
Yes. It may have to be a bender,
Yeah.
bender weekend.
Yeah, we'll see. There might be a nightcap after this episode.
Yeah.
I'm about to be studying
what a
every
move.
single tactic that Poch has used for like the last 10 years of his career.
Yeah. And you and I have kind of been saying it. Like, the US, from where we are right now, we're on the cusp. Like, our talent's in Europe finally. We just needed to go huge on a manager, and that's exactly what we did. I mean, this guy's been to a Champions League final.
Yeah.
Tottenham.
Yeah.
So
of all teams, that is one that is tough to get there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I absolutely love the hiring. It is like a huge, like, 180 from Berhalter. We go out, we get a guy with European experience and like the highest levels. Essentially, he's managed what, two Premier League sides, um, and a Spanish side. Is that where was he between Tottenham and Chelsea, or was he in Italy?
I think he went to Italy, but I don't know where.
Okay, yeah, I
I don't
can't
remember
quite
his
remember.
tree.
Yeah, but he's been all over Europe already, and I feel like at this point in his career, he has seen so much that it is very fitting for him to take an international job, especially where he was at favor wise. I think he was a relatively out of favor manager. Um,
It's crazy,
yeah, which is crazy because
in my opinion.
we both thought he should have been at Chelsea again. Um,
Yeah.
but we'll have to see what happens there. But yeah, I'm for right now, I'm very excited. The idea is that he is going to lead the U.S. into World Cup 2026.
I just hope that for Poch and his legacy, if you can even say that about Pochettino, I would argue he has a legacy, but
Yeah,
I just hope that he doesn't turn into a meme in Europe for taking the USA
I don't
job,
think
which
he
has
will.
been kind of historically memed
I
in the
think
past. But
in Europe right now, it's pretty obvious that like the U.S. is making a push. Like they are aware that the U.S. is trying something right now. So I think they would understand this signing on
yeah,
both
that's
ends
fair.
because it is an emerging
Yeah,
country in the sport. You can't deny it.
yeah, definitely.
Okay. Enough headlines. Let's go ahead and just jump right into an MLB recap, and we'll start with Aaron Judge. I'm sure you're very excited. He hit career home run number 300, making him the fastest player by games played to reach 300 home runs, just 995. That record previously held by Ralph Kiner with 1,087. So easily cleared up.
Um, And to bounce off of that, he also did it in the fastest at bats, and
Yep.
he beat Babe Ruth's record by like 400 at bats there too. So
Yes, exactly 400 at bats.
shout out to Aaron Judge, and if I can just kind of make this point as well, I even as a Yankees fan would have not expected Aaron Judge to be better than Acuna, which I know that Acuna got hurt,
Yeah, Acuna's
but
definitely had the
also
injury
Shohei
problems.
Ohtani. I did not think that 2024 Aaron Judge was going to be the best player in the MLB, but in my opinion, he obviously is.
Yeah, for
Obviously
sure.
is.
For sure. He's already at 43 home runs, and we still have a month and a half to go in the season. He's probably getting,
Yeah.
I'd say he's probably looking at 55 at least.
Yeah,
With the rate
I
he's
think so.
going, he's clearing, like absolutely clearing in RBIs. He's extremely close to the Triple Crown. He's second in batting average in the MLB.
Yep.
So yeah, Aaron Judge is clearly the MVP right now in the American League. The National League MVP it's almost like it doesn't matter. Like, it's probably going to
Yeah.
Shohei, which is kind of crazy, but Judge definitely has it in the AL. I think the only problem with Judge is like it's amazing that he's gotten to this point. He's also already 32 years old. I think people are looking over that because it's like, oh, it's amazing. He's the fastest guy to it in this many games and blah, blah, blah. But he is by no means the youngest to get to 300. And he is
Yeah.
because like he was a rookie at like 26.
Yeah.
And I think, it's unfortunate for him because and people have said this for a number of years now with him and Shohei's emergence as such great players in the sport. Their ages are a problem. Like, they're not going to
Definitely.
be all-time leaders in anything because both of them started in this league at like 25, 26 years old.
Yeah.
So, we'll have
Yep.
to see what happens there. Obviously, these guys maybe have more longevity since they got into this highest level a little bit later in their lives, but there's really no telling.
If I can actually keep going with this Aaron Judge stuff, because I have like more from what happened that night.
Yeah, please.
If you don't mind. So obviously, like you said, it was against the White Sox, and before Aaron Judge's at bat, they actually intentionally walked Soto, and Judge said that actually fueled him. He said that he normally wouldn't have swung on a 3-0 count in that situation, but he was a little bit upset that Soto got intentionally walked, so he hit number 300 off of that. Which I thought was just really cool, and that's really all that I wanted to add.
Yeah,
We had a great series against the White Sox.
Yeah, I've got one thing. After last night's game, Judge's career OPS went to a 1.005 for his career. So he joins the list of players, a very short list of players with a career OPS above 1,000, which includes Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Ted Williams, and Barry Bonds, and that is all. So if he can keep that up, he will be in an exclusive class when it's all said and done. I figure we'll address this next thing real quick. Jaren Duran, bad guy. That's all we really have to say, right?
Oh yeah, but I'm sure Boston fans ate that up though.
I
Just
wouldn't
being
be
honest.
surprised.
Yeah.
They have a reputation for sure.
Well, his jersey sales skyrocketed.
Not once again.
I heard.
Not surprised. Not okay.
Yeah.
That's
No.
the case. But I'm not surprised.
Definitely not.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's
that
definitely
was
become
wild,
a meme already, which isn't great.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I figure we'll just, bring it up. If you want to know what happened, look it up. I certainly will not be repeating what he said.
He could have said any other word and it would have been just as funny
Oh,
and not as controversial.
Not anything.
You don't think so?
Well, there is some words he cannot say either.
Oh, words that they use in Boston a lot. Got it. Okay.
Yes, Boston fans
I see where you're
probably
going.
would have supported him. But yeah, Jaren Duran, bad guy. Robbie Ray, bad at baseball. Fantastic outing against the Braves. 0.2 innings pitched, 1 hit, 5 earned runs, 3 walks, 2 hit by pitches, and 2 strikeouts.
Damn, that's the definition of yips. Guys weren't even hitting off of him.
No.
He just couldn't throw.
No. Like he hit, I think he hit 2 straight batters by pitch. I think it was the first 2 batters of the inning. I think he hit by pitch. And then walked 3 straight, which scored a run. And then Michael Harris hit a grand slam into McCovey Cove in his first game back from injury.
Oh man. Shout out Robbie Ray. That's bad. That's got to be embarrassing for a pitcher, right? It's like not only can you not locate, but you're also hitting guys not on purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. And the fact that you could have me and Jared were together at his house last night and checking the score of the game, and he goes, "Bro, we have 5 runs in 1 hit right now." I'm like, "What?" So yeah, that was absolutely ridiculous. Obviously, the Braves ended up winning that game. Yeah, that game was ridiculous. Bad showing for Robbie Ray. The D-backs have been absolutely absurd since the All-Star break. I don't know if you've been paying attention to how good they've been. They are 19-5 since the All-Star break. They are first in runs, first in batting average, second in on-base percentage, first in slugging, second in home runs, 4th in strikeout rate, and 6th in walk rate since the All-Star break.
Damn.
Yeah. And they have won every series they have played since the All-Star break. They are 8-0 in their series, which the Padres have also done. The Padres have also been phenomenal since the All-Star break, and both of them are now only 2.5 games behind the Dodgers.
Wow.
Which
that's actually big.
Yeah, and I did not fact check this, but I believe I said at the beginning of the season that all 3 of those teams can make the playoffs. I'm pretty sure I said that.
I wouldn't even remember, but I mean,
I can pull the notes up a different time, but I'm pretty sure I said that.
Yeah. It's crazy how the Padres needed to get worse on paper to become a better team.
Yeah. It is interesting. I guess
I remember when they
acquisition was huge.
Yeah, I remember when they first got Soto and brought in Machado. On paper, they looked like they were going to win everything, and they just sucked for so long.
Yeah.
So
I can't
shout out to the Padres
whatsoever.
I've honestly low key been kind of rooting for them to get better, just because I felt like a lot of their star players I actually liked.
That's fair.
So I don't know. I was just kind of always in their corner.
Fair enough. The Pirates have been the opposite of good since the All-Star break.
Oh man,
they're 8-15, which is the 3rd worst record, only ahead of their in-state team, their in-state peer, the Phillies. The Phillies are worse than the Pirates since the All-Star break, and the Braves aren't capitalizing on it, but that's another conversation. And of course, they're better than the White Sox, who I think have won 3 games since the All-Star break.
Oh man.
And the worst part about this, maybe not exactly for the Pirates, but for one of their players, is that a lot of people are saying that with how bad the Pirates are playing, if they end up like being extremely bad by the end of the year, it almost ruins Paul Skeen's chances to win Rookie of the Year. Or definitely Cy Young. Rookie of the Year, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like if you have like a pitcher that's like an obvious candidate, I don't know why record would come into too big of
It's-
a play, especially for an
I
athlete
think
like
for
Paul
him,
Steen.
it's because he started a little bit later into the season. And so especially for Cy Young, like he's already not the favorite as of right now.
Yeah.
But for NL Rookie of the Year, he is definitely the favorite as of now. But if his team keeps losing and he keeps technically like recording the loss,
Yeah, I see
then
that.
it
Yeah.
starts to screw over. Obviously, nobody should be judging a pitcher based on wins and losses. We're all well aware of that by now. But
Yep.
it is a relatively important factor.
Yeah. I would agree. Yeah.
Gavin Lux, in his first 80 games this season, was horrendous. He was batting .211 with a .291 slugging, and in the last 3 weeks, he's been batting .362 with a .1068 OPS.
What happened?
I don't know what changed for Gavin Lux, but he has turned it up in the last 3 weeks.
Shout out Gavin Lux.
Yeah, doing some things for the Dodgers. Speaking of the Dodgers, Max Muncy was on his rehab assignment in AAA, playing for the Oklahoma City Baseball Club, which I just found out that that's their name now, because I remember them as the OKC Dodgers, which they have been since before this season, the Oklahoma City Dodgers, for a long time. I found I had to look into this. I guess they're rebranding at the end of the season, but they wanted to go ahead and change their name from the Dodgers for this year, which is weird because they're still the affiliate.
Yeah.
So I don't get it. But while Max Muncy was there playing against the A's AAA affiliate, the Las Vegas Aviators, he played against 2021 first round draft pick Max Muncy, who plays for the Las Vegas Aviators, and was drafted by the Athletics. Max Muncy was also drafted. Max, the older Max Muncy was drafted by the Athletics in 2012, I believe. The younger Max Muncy drafted by the Athletics in 2021, and they also both have the same birthday, August 25th.
Damn.
They have the exact same name, like spelled the same. They both got drafted by the same team, and they have the same birthday.
I've said it before. Baseball is weird.
It's crazy.
Just strange.
I remember people talking about this on draft day when he got drafted by the A's. Like, how does an organization draft two guys with the same name?
Same birthday.
Yeah.
Oh man, what are we thinking for their name? If I'm going minor league baseball, I'm thinking like the platypus. It's got to be something out there, something cool.
It's going to be something you couldn't even have imagined if I had to guess.
Platypus is pretty out there. That'd be a cool hat.
But like, that's like almost mainstream when it comes to minor league baseball teams. Like, they have some ridiculous names.
What would you call them?
I have no idea. I'm going to be honest. I didn't mind when like almost every AAA team was just like the major league affiliate's name.
Yeah.
But like everybody's changing it. Like, there's no more Gwinnett Braves. They're about to the Mississippi Braves are about to move back to Georgia and not be the Braves. So that's also going to happen. The only team I can even think of right now, or I think there's two of them that I can think of that are just the same as the major league, is the Iowa Cubs and the Syracuse Mets. I think that's the only two. Left, at least to my recollection. But yeah, there's really no telling. There's so many crazy names. Like, I can't keep up with it.
Yeah.
You got like Trash Pandas and Biscuits and Iron Pigs. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Hunter Green, I think we talked about it. I think you were on the episode when he threw up on the mound. He did it again. And this time it was into his glove.
Oh man, you can't do that.
It was the grossest visual. He throws up like this, and you see it come through like the breaks in the yeah.
Oh, bro,
it was so weird. But like, dude, I would the biggest thing that I got from this, and Rob Friedman, the pitching ninja, pointed this out as well. The umpire that had to do the substance check on him after the end of that inning, that's got to be disgusting.
Oh man, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I would assume he replaced his glove. Like, he's probably got extra gloves. I'm sure that after he did that, somebody brought him a new glove because, like, you can't just put the ball in your glove and it be covered in vomit. That's technically a foreign substance.
Yeah,
So
you're right.
yeah, I don't know the rules on vomiting on the baseball, but I would assume it's not
Oh,
allowed.
dude, what if it came out that like he would eat maple syrup before games and just like make himself throw up, get that velo?
Dude, I had a thought similar to that earlier when I first saw this, and I was like, what if he's throwing up on his glove and that's like washing away foreign substances that he had on them?
Yeah,
Like that could be
crazy.
part of it. I have no idea.
No, but next time, Hunter Green, just hands on knees, turn towards the camera, own up to it, make sure all the liquids are on camera. You don't got to
Yeah.
try to hide it with your glove because that's a little
No.
bit nasty.
I think it was probably just like a like muscle memory to just kind of like, he's probably like coughing. He probably just went to like cough and
yeah.
just try to like cover his mouth and just spewed.
Yeah.
Let's talk about another absurd story. The Brewers owner, Mark Adonasio, or Adonasio, I don't know how to say it. He's being accused of stealing sand from a Malibu beach.
What?
And not just like going and like grabbing some sand. Like everybody grabs sand. No, he has hired people with excavators to be digging up sand on a beach in Malibu for a construction project at his California home where he's repairing a seawall at his house, and he's just stealing sand. And he's being sued. There is a lawsuit filed against him by his next door neighbor. Because like I said, what it officially says is he's been using excavators on a public natural resource, restricting public access to the beach while also exposing local marine life to potentially hazardous byproducts of heavy machinery.
What a dick.
Yeah. Like, dude,
buy
holy
sandbags.
shit. Yeah, just buy sand. Especially like because his reason, or whatever, is that like he has to fix a sand wall. And it's like, or not a sand wall, a seawall. You don't need natural sand from the beach to do that. It's insane to me. I don't even know how that could go through somebody's mind.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's like rich people problems.
Yeah, it very much is. Back to the baseball, though. Tarek Skubal currently leads the AL in all 3 Triple Crown categories. So might have Triple Crown watch in the American League for pitchers. He has 14 wins, a 2.53 ERA, and 180 strikeouts.
Damn. Shout out Tarek Skubal, man.
Yeah, he'll be well over 200 this season in strikeouts, which is pretty cool.
Awesome. Love that.
Did you see Judon Alvarez destroy the Jumbotron at the Trop?
I did not see that.
Dude, so in BP, he hit a home run to right field, and it hit one, like this, the big, like, Jumbotron scoreboard type thing that they have out in right. And, like, at first, like, it started just, like, glitching out, and then it got, like, really bad. Like, the whole thing was, like, it just had, like, dots on it that, like, you couldn't tell what was actually on the screen. It was, like, a mess. It was just, like, the weirdest thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm watching it right now.
Yeah.
1 second video. Come on. Let's load.
Yeah, I just
love Judon Alvarez, by the way.
Yeah, he's awesome. But yeah, the pictures of the screen are so funny because like the whole thing gets fucked up.
I'm just gonna watch it later. I got hit with an ad, so
of course you probably are watching it on MLB.com.
I was.
Yeah, they'll hit you with like a good 30-second ad that you can't skip. It's always great.
Love that.
A few weeks ago, Logan O'Hoppe of the Angels bought 350 tickets at Yankee Stadium for friends and family to come see him play, which is already absurd. And we did not talk about somehow. Like, I didn't even know about this until this stat came out that since the day that he did that, he is 0 for 27 with 12 strikeouts.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I don't even I literally couldn't even name 350 people to go to my to come to anything.
No, not at all.
Like, are you flying people out too?
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Like,
That's a lot
I
of
would
damn
assume
money.
it's just like, dude, that's got to be like every single member of your family, extended family, every one of your friends, every one of your parents' friends. Like,
Yeah.
it's got to be so, like, there's got to be connections that he was buying tickets for people he had never met in his entire life. If I had
Oh,
to
for
guess.
sure.
Like,
Yeah.
a
Had to
lot
have
of
been.
them he probably never met in his entire life.
Yeah, can you even do that? Like, is there not a cap for tickets like that? Because that just seems ridiculous.
I have no idea. I really don't know, but apparently he bought 350,
Damn.
and now he sucks.
That's
I
wild.
guess. I found out yesterday that, and I'm sure you have not noticed this because why would anybody watch a Tigers home game? But if a Tigers player
Nice.
hits a ball into the glove of the Little Caesars logo that is in, I believe, left field outside, like just over the fence. There's like cover over like kind of like where the bullpens would be. There's a cover
Yeah.
with the Little Caesars logo on it, and he's got a glove, and there's a hole on the glove, like a big hole. If a Tigers player hits a ball into that glove without any fan interference, everybody in Metro Detroit gets a free hot and ready pizza from Little Caesars.
Holy shit.
And Mark Canna came extremely close, hitting a grand slam the other day. It literally
Oh,
was like
man.
a couple feet away.
I would love to see that happen.
Oh my god, dude, it'd be awesome. It's like all those moments where like a team's getting like shit on, but like they have to like score a certain amount of points in a game to like a lot of times
Yeah.
in the NBA for some reason I see stuff like that where it's like some team just needs to like score a certain amount of points on a night or like in a quarter and like the whole, everybody gets free wings or something. And
Yeah.
like they'll be losing by like 20 and the place will just like erupt. It's awesome.
I love that. Bro, that would
Um,
unite the whole city.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Bring everybody together. Just hot and ready pizzas for everybody.
Yeah.
George Kirby, speaking of the Tigers, sucks against the Tigers in his career. I don't know why. He started against them 5 times. He has allowed 24 earned runs, 36 hits in 23.2 innings pitched, and a 9.25 ERA.
You know what you didn't say? Walks.
That's true, because he doesn't walk anybody.
No walks.
But for some reason, something happens when he enters the confines of Detroit. Where it just
how many
goes
runs
wrong.
did you say?
He has given up
In
24
five games?
earned runs in 5 starts.
Holy shit. That's
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, he's giving up over a run an inning.
Yeah.
Pretty
It's crazy.
brutal. Considering he's a pitcher that we talk about often being very good and like consistent.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites. He
Yeah.
he doesn't necessarily have like anything disgusting. He's just good.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to describe him,
Yeah.
but I love him.
The Nationals had a MLB debut by Andres Chaparro, I believe is how you say it. And in his debut, became the first player in Nationals history to record 3 hits in his major league debut. And those 3 hits were all doubles.
Damn.
Yeah, your major league debut, you have 6 total bases on 3 doubles. Is crazy.
Shout
And
out.
that was against the Orioles. And in that same game, which the Nationals, like, I think they won like 9-3, CJ Abrams also had 3 hits, and James Woods had 4 hits.
Whoa.
So between 3 players, they had 10 hits.
Damn.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
insane. And then this like just came out today from, I think, CBS Sports is the one that I saw post it. The MLB is reportedly looking into instating a 6-inning requirement for starting pitchers,
Oh,
which is
wow.
crazy.
So they would have to pitch
They
6
would
innings
have
before
to
they can
pitch
come out of the
6
game.
innings before they could leave the game. Unless, I guess, unless it's due to injury, because you can't just make a guy who's hurt keep pitching. But I absolutely hate that. That totally throws away the idea of the long reliever as well. Like I
Very
get
true.
I get
Yeah.
getting rid of like the opener, like the bullshit, whatever, like bullpen game. It gets rid of the bullpen game, which I don't love. I think that's a strategic move for some teams,
Oh, for sure.
especially in the playoffs. The openers like in like bullpen games are relatively important. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think this is a horrendous idea. Like
Me too.
off
Because
rip, I
what
do
if?
not like this. I don't see a part of this that is beneficial to the sport other than the fact that if you pay to go to a game or pay to watch a game because somebody's pitching, you're going to see 6 innings out of them. But let me tell you, if I go to a Braves game because I want to see Chris Sale and he gets lit up by the 3rd inning, I don't want to see him 3 more times.
No.
Like, I'd rather just damage control and get him out.
Yeah, and what are they going to do about like pitch counts? Like if they have
Yeah.
like a bad first or second inning, like is he just forced to keep like
Exactly.
throwing his arm
They
out?
would
Like
have to have a lot of weird limitations around it. There would have to be a pitch count for sure where they would have to be removed that. Like you can't exceed, I don't know, within the 6 innings at least. Because I think, after you go 6 innings, then it's cool if like some guy goes up to like 125 to throw a perfect game or something or a no-hitter.
yeah,
But obviously, guys aren't throwing 125 pitch perfect games. I'll go ahead and say that. But if a
Yeah.
guy like gets past the 6th inning or like through 6, he should be able to pitch to whatever number he wants. But within those 6 innings, you should only be able to get to like 110. I would say is like a reasonable number that keeps guys in the game because like guys can feasibly get like there's plenty of guys that pitch a good game through 6 innings and get like 90 pitches, 95.
yeah,
So you would have to have like a relatively high maximum pitch count that would still, stop a guy from like dying out there. And then
yeah,
I feel like you'd have to have an earned run limit, honestly, where you
yeah,
could allow a team to take because like, yeah, I get, if a guy's given up 3 runs, maybe he could stick it out for another inning or 2. But if the guy's given up like 6 runs, you're taking away the competitiveness of making moves in a game. Like that is part of the tactics and the strategy of baseball. You already took away the tactic of, bringing in a lefty for a lefty-lefty matchup and then pulling him out right after the bat. You took that away. You've taken away pitchers hitting, so you took away the pinch hitting tactics of baseball. Stop taking away everything because now there's a new strategy to bringing in pitchers where it's like, okay, well, he's got to face 3 batters. So you have to, be like, okay, well, these are the next 3 guys that are up. Who am I going to pull in that I know can sit these guys down? Like there is tactics to it. If it's the 5th inning and my team's getting shit on and I can't take out my pitcher, I would be losing my fucking mind as a manager.
oh yeah, same.
Like that would be the most
Yeah.
ridiculous thing. I absolutely hate that.
Yeah, that's a dumb rule and makes a lot of bullpen guys unhappy. And
Yeah,
just with the injuries that we've seen with guys throwing like a million miles an hour now,
exactly.
it just makes absolutely no sense. at
Yeah,
all.
like we're already seeing an uptick in pitcher injuries. Why make them go longer in games?
Yeah,
Like I would
it's like
love for every starting pitcher to go 7 innings. That'd be great. But
yeah, yeah,
if it's a matter of your health, like if it's a matter of you pitching next week, if you came out in the 5th inning versus the 6th, I'd pull you out in the 5th every single time.
yeah, exactly.
I really
And
don't
I
understand this.
I wanted to go back to a point that you made about like earn run limits and pitch
Yeah,
count limits and stuff like that. What if you have a guy that maybe doesn't hit that earned run limit or that pitch count limit, but his mechanics are off now that he's been hit around so much? Then you're risking injury even further
yeah,
if he's not throwing right.
yeah,
So yeah, I'm with you on that one. That's a stupid rule.
yeah. All right, well, that was my last thing. What do you have MLB was?
I only have a couple
Okay,
things, but we can rejoice because Liam Hendricks is back finally
fantastic. Glad
with the
he's
Red
back.
Sox. I think it was either a fly out to end the inning or it was during warmups, but you could tell that there was no one more excited that he was back, except for him. He caught this like fly out, like I said, either during warmups or to end the inning, and just launched it over the green monster. Just launched it. That was fun to see. Surprised that you didn't talk about George Springer's ejection.
Yeah, I literally had that in my notes and I didn't write it down. I don't know why, but yeah, it was insane.
So,
he got hit. He got hit in the foot.
Oh, 100%. And like Grayson said, George Springer gets hit on the foot. It goes to replay, and everybody's chill because it seems like it's going to be a very routine replay call because it was obvious. And even after replay, they still said he didn't get hit, and George Springer lost his mind.
Oh my
He's a player who doesn't really do that much, but he was completely valid.
The umpire must have said something that got him going. Because, look, guys argue when things don't go their way. They don't get like that. Like, he had two guys, like, Vlad couldn't even hold him back the whole time.
I know.
And, he was in that umpire's face. And you don't see, especially George Springer, you don't see him get like that.
Yeah, but like I said, he was valid. That was bullshit.
Yeah. Definitely.
And then the last thing I wanted to talk about, because we already talked about Aaron Judge hitting 300th home run. The AL leaders right now, this is actually insane. So in home runs, Aaron Judge is first.
Yep.
And on base percentage, he's first. Slugging, he's first. OPS, he's first. Walks, he's first. And WAR, he's first. But what's even cooler to me, in home runs, Soto's third. In on base, Soto's second. In slugging, Soto's second. In OPS, Soto's second. In walks, Soto is second. And in WAR, Soto's third. That is insane. And the fact that Soto isn't first in walks is, to me, even more insane.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. But maybe that's kind of a little bit of the short porch kind of getting to him, like a lot of people said. But, I mean, he's still second.
Yeah, no,
so at least he's finding
amazing.
like a mixture. Yeah.
Yeah. He's still playing unbelievably well. All right.
And then my last point with that, I'm sorry. Soto and Judge now are lined up to be the second pair of teammates to ever have an OPS plus of 185 or higher. The last two to do that were Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig.
Wow. It's good guys to be lined up with.
Right.
All right. That will conclude the MLB, and we will begin our the third to last of the division previews, the NFC South preview. I am excited. Obviously, this is my division. But the NFC South has been an interesting division for a couple of years now, because people can say it's competitive. Some would say it's bad. And honestly, the last 3 years, it has just been flat out bad, in my opinion. This year, maybe some things change because some of the teams in this division, primarily the Falcons, made moves. A lot of moves that are important and fundamentally change the team. Let's go ahead, though, and start our standings here, bottom to top, as we do. You go ahead.
Panthers, Saints, Bucks, and the Falcons are obvious division winners.
I think this is our first time we've fully agreed all the way through. Those four for sure, in that order. The Panthers just simply have not done enough yet. They've made okay moves, but they sold their soul for Bryce Young. They could have just waited a year and got Caleb Williams. And drafted
a
Brian
good Burns
offensive lineman. Yeah, they traded away Brian Burns. Yeah, the Panthers are a fucked up place. The Deontay Johnson trade's good, but Bryce Young has no time to throw to him.
No, and I like the point that you made is, and I'm sorry to cut you off there, but I completely agree. Is you went too far for Bryce Young and really did nothing with the offensive line, which. I mean, you're kind of doing a shitty thing to Bryce Young if you're the Panthers, in my opinion.
Oh, I agree.
I mean, you can give him all of these skill positions. You can draft Xavier Legette. You can trade for Deontay Johnson. You can draft Jonathan Brooks. There's no offensive line.
Yeah.
For any of those guys.
I don't know why they just refuse to address that position.
Yeah, I know.
I
Horrible.
really don't get it. But yeah, I think the Saints, like personally, I'm not a Saints fan, but I'm like not a fan of Derek Carr at all at this point in his career. Like no use in believing in
No.
him because he can't stay on the field. Um, last year when he'd go down, Jameis kept them in a competitive position. I don't think
Mhm.
Spencer Rattler is going to offer that same thing. Um, I think he is the backup. I don't know if he's exactly number 2 on the depth chart. That's just
Um,
the
he's
guy that I would
3rd string on
assume.
ESPN.
Okay, who's second string then at the moment?
I'll let you know right now.
I'm pulling it up too.
It
Jake
is
Hayner. Yeah.
Jake
Fuck
Hayner.
out of here with that. Yeah. Look, Derek Carr will get hurt. That's just kind of his job. He's more guaranteed to get hurt than throw 20 touchdowns. Um That's for real.
Yeah.
There's there's a higher chance of Taysom Hill throwing 5 passing touchdowns than Derek Carr not getting hurt this season. Um
100%.
So I don't believe in the Saints whatsoever. I do think the defense is fine, but I don't believe in the Saints. The Bucks, it's going to be hard to convince me that they'll be great, or at least at the same level offensively after the change at offensive coordinator with Dave Canales leaving. Obviously, he's on the Panthers now, but it doesn't have much to work with. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, with the Bucks, it's like the defense stayed very good. I still think the defense is great. And you kept a lot of the good parts of your offense, just not the guy that seemed to be pulling the strings. Um, so we'll have to see how that goes. I think the Buccaneers will be in a similar place as last year, but that's not going to be as good as it looked last year. Like it's not going to look the same. They'll probably be 8-9, I'd say. Last year, I believe they finished 9-8. And they won the division. I don't think 8-9 wins you the division at all.
No, and I think with my thing with the Bucks is I still think that they're very good. They have a good roster, but it's starting to get to the point where like they have had the same starters. I would say maybe like at most positions since Tom Brady, and a lot of these
Yeah.
guys are only getting older. Like, when are you going to draft another wide receiver? Like, what's it going to
Well, they
take for
did.
that to
They
happen?
drafted Jalen McMillan, which I think is a good
Oh, I don't
pickup.
even see that.
He'll be their wide receiver 3. He was a later draft pick.
Okay.
But like I
But
wanted them to go wide receiver in the first round. So,
yeah, yeah.
you know, I agree
I don't
with
know.
you
We'll,
though.
we'll have to see.
They need to freshen
They
things
haven't done
up.
a lot of replacing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do. I agree.
Yep.
And then the Falcons, obviously, are my division winner. We'll go through and kind of talk about some of these teams. But for dark horse, I'd like to start us with something kind of interesting here. I think the Falcons are a dark horse to fail. Um, I hate to say that. I
Okay.
really do. But they are very much like they're on fraud watch for me as a fan. They're on
Yeah.
fraud watch because like I simply if there is a team that I root for that I cannot trust, it's the Falcons. Like, look, I root for a lot of teams. I root for the Braves, and for the most part, I can trust them. This year, maybe not. But Florida State, I can typically trust what most people are saying about us before a season starts. The Falcons are another beast. I don't know what the deal is, but they are so bad at living up to expectations. And with how many things changed around this franchise, I'm hoping something actually shows that it changed because what we've seen was not great. And the changes hopefully are positive. It'd be hard to get worse than what I've been watching. But with that many moving pieces, we can't expect just immediate Super Bowls. Like, you can't expect an immediate Super Bowl from a first-year head coach, a first-year OC, I believe a first-year DC, a brand new quarterback to the franchise, rookie running back, a young wide receiver, a young tight end, not much. Like, there is depth at the wide receiver position, but it's not great. You don't have like a real wide receiver 2 compared to most teams in the NFL. You've had one of the worst defensive lines for the last like 4 years. You have a rather weak two cornerbacks. The safeties are great, but you have a rather weak 2 cornerbacks, and you don't really have a star in the middle of the field at linebacker. That's not perfect at all. Obviously, that's on like the bad side because you could see it as like, you know, a multi-time Pro Bowl quarterback, an emerging young star at running back, and blah, 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 you know, down the list. But
Yeah.
there is a lot of things not to trust and not to buy into with the Falcons yet.
Okay, so that's your dark horse is the
Yeah,
Falcons
my dark horse is
to
that the
lose
Falcons
the
could
division?
fail. Obviously not
Okay.
lose the division, but they won't win it.
Yeah, I see those points, but I think the Falcons have made all the right moves. They haven't really brought in a lot of players that I'm like, I don't know what to expect. I know what to
Yeah,
expect from Kirk Cousins. I know what
that's
to
fair.
expect from Matthew Judon, Justin Simmons, and guys like that. So I think the Falcons are going to be ridiculous last year or this year because I didn't even think that they were bad last year. At 7-10,
Yeah, that's fair.
really
The
did not think
defense
they were
was
that bad.
phenomenal last year, but what sucks about
Very
that is that the
entertaining.
defense was great and we lost our DC.
Yeah,
So
that is true.
yeah, I can't quite buy in yet. I know, like I already announced it when the Matthew Judon trade went down. False confidence season came early, like 100% false confidence is here.
Yeah,
But I'm
I love
trying
that
to
tweet,
like
by the way.
restrict myself.
Yeah.
Trying to restrict myself.
Well, my dark horse to win the division is actually going to be the Saints. I feel like they're always a dark horse.
Yeah.
Kind of to your point of the Falcons maybe failing. I don't think the Bucks are a strong enough dark horse to be my dark horse, if that makes sense. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna go with the Saints because Derek Carr trash, but he's been doing it for so long. He's been playing mediocre football for so long
That's
that
true.
they're gonna be there towards the end.
He's in the right place
Alvin
for it.
Kamara, yeah. Alvin Kamara hopefully can have like a much healthier season with no suspensions.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's not beating anybody up in clubs for talking shit to
It's
him and
true.
his buddies. Chris Olave can only get better. Like I really just don't mind this team at all. Demario Davis is still going to put in work. Marshawn Lattimore is still there. Cameron Jordan's still there.
Yeah.
Pete Werner is only going to get better. So I think the Saints are going to be definitely a lock at third, but depending on what happens with the Falcons and Bucks, I could see the Saints winning the division.
Yeah, they're so good at playing okay enough to like win some games.
Yeah,
They really are. That's what the Saints have done for
Yeah.
a number of years. They haven't won the division since Drew Brees was there. So I'm pretty sure. Somebody can fact check me.
Wow.
But that's like, 4 years now?
Maybe 5.
Yeah, it's been a while without Drew Brees. You could fact check me. They might have won the division, but I think the Bucks
I'm
have
gonna
won the
check.
division every year since Drew Brees retired. Nonetheless, I do think the Saints have a chance to do it only if the Bucks and the Falcons both flop, which is what they've been relying
Yeah.
on the last 2 years. And every single time it comes down to week 18 and the Bucks, win 3-0 over the Panthers, and all of a sudden the Saints lose their chance. So it's like, what can you do about it?
It was actually 2020. The Saints went 12-4.
Okay, yeah. Was that Drew Brees?
They lost in the divisional round to the Buccaneers. I don't remember. I don't think it was. Yeah, because wait, no, it was Drew Brees.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was still Drew
Okay.
Brees. Yeah. Dang, Drew Brees was still playing in 2020.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Okay. Offensive player of the year. I don't have a lot of names here. Surprisingly.
I don't either. I'm going to start with the Falcons. I think we can just go by team. I have Bijan, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts. I'm not going Kirk Cousins.
Oh, okay. Funny
this
enough,
one.
I have Bijan, Drake London, and Kirk Cousins, and I'm not going Kyle Pitts.
Oh, okay.
Once again, this is like reverse. I'm going reverse psychology this season on Kyle Pitts. If I'm going to be out as much as possible on him, so that I have the lowest expectations of what he can achieve. And so, like, by the end of the year, like 850 and 5 touchdowns sounds good to me, because that's probably what we're looking at.
that would be his best season since his rookie year, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably.
And that would work for me.
Yeah. Oh man. For the Buccaneers, I have Mike Evans, and I am really high on Rashad White. I love that kid.
I am as low as you could possibly be on Rashad White.
I know you are.
I've got Mike
I
Evans
know.
and Baker Mayfield. I do think that Baker could still be good. I know I've talked my fair amount of shit this summer about
Yeah.
losing his offensive coordinator that kind of made him thrive this past season. But like, it's not like he lost all the knowledge that he gained and all the experience that he gained from what he did last season. He's still a good quarterback.
Yeah.
So I think Baker could definitely still boom and be up there. And obviously, Mike Evans is Mike Evans. He's a walking 1,000-yard receiver.
Dude, by the time he's done, he's gonna have the craziest career.
He's had
wide
1,000
receiver.
yards every year, including his last 2 years of college.
And he's a Super Bowl champion.
Unbelievable. That's true.
Yeah.
I've got one from the Saints. I've got one Saint.
Hang on, before we jump though,
Yeah.
I like that we both didn't take Chris Godwin
He
because
sucks.
I think he's
That's why.
actually I don't think he's gonna be that good this year.
No, it's like every
high on
year,
him at all.
the last couple of years, since like that Super Bowl season, and maybe the season right after they won the Super Bowl, he's just kind of like skated under the radar. Maybe he'll get hurt, here and there. But like
Yeah.
he'll always emerge being like pretty good. He'll make you have to think about him by the end of the season. That's what Chris Godwin
Yes.
does. But Mike Evans always outshines him. I
Always.
think that's over. I think that whole thing is over.
Yeah.
Like you either
Yeah.
you gotta put up or shut up right now for Godwin, in my opinion.
What an era though it's been for those two guys. Like the
Yeah.
fact that they have stayed on the same team for so
Yeah.
many years is like I can't think of any other two wide receivers that have ever done that before.
Yeah, it's hard to just like, especially Chris Godwin in particular. Like, I believe he was like a first or second round draft pick. He quickly emerged as a great player. For
Yeah.
him to just be content where he was at, and I think it helped that rather early in his career, like a few years into his career, Tom Brady became his quarterback. And it was like, okay, well, I got to stay here because we're going to a Super Bowl. And
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
obviously they end up winning one. So that was probably huge. And now he, owes a lot to that franchise. Whereas like, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, like obviously we already saw Tyler Boyd leave. But it's pretty clear like T. Higgins wanted out. And right now, Jamar Chase is not happy. The extension talks haven't started. So
Yeah.
there's no idea. Like we have no idea what's going to happen in Cincinnati right now. But like every single time we see, like I think it's probably gonna end up being a situation in Seattle. I think once Tyler Lockett's gone in JS, like because Tyler Lockett will probably retire within, I'd say, the next 3 or 4 years. When it's DK and JSN, one of them is gonna emerge the best. Obviously, DK has years on him. But I think JSN is good enough to emerge like that. That's a situation to be watching for the next couple of years.
Yeah. Definitely.
So, kind of back to our point, though. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are in a unique situation where Mike Evans is going to outshine him every single time.
Yes.
Okay,
Definitely.
do you have any Saints? I've got Chris Olave, and that's all.
I always gotta have AK on there. I love me some Alvin Kamara.
I'm so like I said I was low on Rashad White. I'm not as low on Alvin Kamara as I am on Rashad White, but I think if you scaled it to how good the players are, I probably am lower on Alvin Kamara. I don't know why.
That's fair.
But for some reason I'm ready for him to slow down.
Oh man. Well, I mean, you are a Falcons fan, but I
That's true.
love him, bro. He's one of my dogs. I love him.
Nice.
We text actually.
Yeah, him and Shefty
but-
have a group chat. And
Yeah.
Shefty's like, dude, what the fuck happened in Vegas?
Oh damn! My other player is Chris Olave though, so I got
Yeah.
AK and Olave.
Okay. And no Panthers?
I have Sir Purr.
Really?
I have no Panthers.
Really? I could have put Sir
Yeah.
Purr there. Could have put Adam Thielen. he'll
Yeah, like
probably
7 years ago.
he'll probably have like 2 165-yard games with like 2 touchdowns each. And we're gonna be like, oh, he's so back. Like
It's the
every other
return.
game, he's gonna get like 5 receptions for 15 yards.
Yeah.
Because Bryce Young has no
Maybe could have
time.
gone with maybe could have gone with Andy Dalton here.
Maybe could have gone with Chuba Hubbard.
Oh
Don't
God,
sleep.
Miles Sanders.
Yeah, Miles Sanders third on the depth chart behind Jonathan Brooks, who's going to miss the first 4 weeks of the season.
Yeah, I know. I more deserved for Miles Sanders, but I will say since I don't have anybody for offensive player of the year, I would have 1000% put Jonathan Brooks right here if he wasn't hurt to start the year. I
Yeah,
am
I think it's tough because
I
Chuba Hubbard has been a pretty solid running back for them, so he's not going to just lose snaps out of nowhere. But Miles Sanders is obviously losing snaps here, which
I
would give Jonathan Brooks a
yeah.
chance.
I like you're right. Chuba Hubbard has been good, but I am so high on Jonathan Brooks. I think he might be one of those guys that no matter what Chuba Hubbard does, it will always end up being Jonathan
Yeah,
Brooks at some point this
I
season.
agree.
I think he is that good.
Yeah, and I'll just go ahead and say I've got Jonathan Brooks in the surprise players and not the rookies, just because he's not going to be playing until like week 5 probably, and he still might not
Yeah.
be 100%. Like he's coming off of a very late season ACL injury at Texas
I
last
think
year.
November.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like it's not that easy to just be like, oh, well, it happened in college. Well, college wasn't that long ago.
Exactly.
Okay, defensive player of the year. I guess we'll go by team again. We'll start with the Falcons. I only have Jesse Bates and Matthew Judon.
I have Judon, Bates, and Justin Simmons.
Okay, yeah. I don't know if Justin Simmons is exactly gonna that's my issue a lot on the defense is like a third guy. It's really hard to outshine when there's a clear top 2.
Yeah, that is a good
So
point.
I like Simmons, and obviously it's a very new move, so I haven't really had much time to think about it. But with Judon and Jesse Bates, I think Judon. Okay, if Judon is good, Grady Jarrett will also be up there.
Yeah, definitely.
But if Grady can't stay healthy, then obviously that ends up hurting Matthew Judon because you have to pay attention to Grady Jarrett if he's on the field.
Yeah, I actually I have Grady Jarrett in my surprise players because of
Okay.
this Judon move. Just kind of like I'm ready for Grady Jarrett to have his year, and
Dude, the last
honestly, he
time
might be out of time.
the last time he
For
was
his
on a
year.
defensive line with somebody else to worry about, it was Vic Beasley.
Yeah. Oh man, rest in peace, Vic Beasley. He's not dead, but
No.
his career is.
Yeah, it's very much dead. All right. Buccaneers. I've got Antoine Winfield and Jordan Whitehead.
Wow. So we agree on Winfield, but I have Levante David and Vita Vea.
I think Levante David and Vita Vea both might be at a point where like they'll always be good, but I don't think they'll ever be like the best defensive player. You know what I mean? It's really hard as well.
Their
For
stats,
for Vita as a defensive tackle, it's really tough to have outstanding stats.
yeah, unless you're Chris Jones.
Yeah.
Which he is not a defensive end. He's a tackle,
Yeah, he's a
right? Chris
tackle.
Jones?
He just puts up ridiculous numbers.
Yeah, and I mean, like Vita Vea, definitely a D tackle, kind of like with what you mentioned. They don't really get a lot of number stats. They kind of just eat up, blocks and stuff. But Levante David is probably going to lead the team in tackles again, so I think it's fair to shout him out.
Yeah, he's in my surprise players, and I specifically put it's not a surprise if you've watched football for the last 20 years that Levante David's gonna be good, but it's gonna be surprising when you realize he's like 41 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
He's deep into his career, still doing it. I put Jordan Whitehead just because he started his career in Tampa. He went to the Jets, played fantastic for his 2 seasons with the Jets, and then comes right back to Tampa and just slides right back into the starting role.
I'm high on him too, but he didn't make my defensive player of the year.
I've got one Saint, Marshawn Lattimore. Always, I have the most respect for Marshawn Lattimore.
Oh, dude! Anytime him and Mike Evans get on the field together, I've already got the popcorn in the microwave.
Yeah.
Dog. I love that.
Trust me, Marshawn Lattimore like becoming good and Julio Jones becoming bad lined up at the same time, and it killed me.
Oh man!
But I have the ultimate respect for
brutal.
Marshawn Lattimore because he was part of the reason where like people were like, "Oh shit, Julio's like he's going downhill." Because Marshawn would
That's
lock
actually
him
a really
up 2
good
times
point.
a year.
Yeah. I I have Lattimore and Demario Davis, and I have Cam
Yeah.
Jordan on here as well, but I don't know about Cam Jordan
Yeah.
anymore now that I'm looking at his name, so I'm gonna go ahead and mark him off.
Okay, yeah,
But
Demario.
Lattimore,
Okay,
Demario
so
Davis for sure.
I know that you're like a huge tackles guy. We have this
Love 'em.
conversation very often. So like, yes, that's why Levante David and Demario aren't on my list. It's just purely
Yeah.
because I'm not ever looking at the tackles numbers, unless
I
it's a
just admire
Khan.
the yeah, Aluakon is crazy,
Yeah,
but I just admire the guys that can go into their late 30s and still
yeah.
like just like 7 years in a row of leading their team in tackles every year. I just think is amazing. I don't know. I admire that.
I understand that. I've got one Panther, J.C. Horn. That's it.
I have JC and Shaq Thompson.
Okay, yeah, I can understand that.
I'm waiting on his big year.
Yeah,
I'm
but
just gonna
obviously
keep saying it until it
with
happens.
Brian Burns being gone, we'll be talking about him in 2 weeks for sure. Brian
Yeah,
Burns. But for now,
definitely.
let's move on to rookie of the years. And I don't think so. This is a weird division with rookies because all of these teams, maybe minus the Saints, had like relatively big draft. I guess the Panthers really didn't either, but the Bucks and the Falcons both had like big drafts, but not a lot of immediate impact. Obviously, the Falcons drafted a quarterback that we're not going to see for 2 or 4 years.
Yep.
And then, third round pick that everybody was excited about is hurt. The Bucks kind of drafted a lot of depth players. Same goes for the Saints and then the Panthers. Just, I don't know. It wasn't great. And they didn't have a first round pick. But my first rookie of the year is a Panther, and it's Xavier Legette. He's going to give Bryce Young an option that is huge for him. Having Deontay
Yes.
Johnson and Adam Thielen on the field with him, and as good as Xavier Legette is, he's going to get the chance to see the ball a lot.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't want to forget about Jonathan Mingo either.
Yeah. He's just he's kind of been like pushed out of favor because Legette is such a great prospect.
Yeah, and they could be just setting up for Thielen to retire though as well.
That's true.
But yeah, I like Legette, and then obviously Jonathan Brooks as well for the Panthers.
Yeah, the only reason I don't have Jonathan Brooks as rookie of the year is just, like I said, the late start, I think, is going to kind of affect that for me. I do have Kool-Aid McKinstry here, though.
Yeah, for the Saints.
Yeah, I could see him making an immediate impact on that team.
Yeah, well, he's automatic corner too, from what I've seen on depth charts. So I love that. And yeah, he has Marshawn Lattimore to learn from.
Yeah, he does have a lot to learn. So I will say that from his time at Bama, he's got a lot to learn.
He is a very amazing athlete, and I would say a good corner, but definitely he has some stuff to learn, like you said. He's not going to be like a day one, corner one.
No.
You know what I mean? But for sure, he's got the blueprint.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's go into surprise players. I kind of split mine up. I've kind of been trying to do this, split it up between rookies and non-rookies. So I'll start. I've got 4 rookies here because, like I said, a lot of these guys they drafted this year are depth moves. So, like, there's a lot of guys that maybe you wouldn't think about that could catch you by surprise. 3 of mine are wide receivers. There was a lot of good late-round wide receiver picks. So, Jalen McMillan first for the Buccaneers. I think is a great move. We'll start immediately as, like, the wide receiver 3. Bub Means, I think, has a chance to just show up out of nowhere for the Saints. He was fantastic at Pitt, and, like, nobody talked about him at all. Especially in the draft process. He was like a 5th round pick for the Saints. I think he could show up a couple of times and just like really make something happen. And then a guy that I've been hearing a lot of great things about in Falcons training camp is Casey Washington from Illinois. Like he almost like everybody's saying right now in training camp, he's the 2nd best wide receiver that they've watched behind Drake. And right now he's listed as like wide receiver 5 or 6. Like Rondale Moore, though, already missing the season. So he's out for the season. So Rondale Moore's already out of the rotation, which puts it at Darnell Mooney as wide receiver 2 and Ray McLeod as wide receiver 3. And then I think Kadero Hodge is wide receiver 4. Casey Washington, with how good he has looked, not only in preseason game 1, he looked good, but in practice, apparently he's looked fantastic. So Casey Washington could easily be wide receiver, honestly, 3 ahead of Ray McLeod.
Man, Ray has my heart, though.
I know. I love Ray, and he's actually a surprise player of mine. But
Yeah.
also Jonathan Brooks, like I've talked about. But like I said, he won't play till week 4 or 5 probably, so it's hard to put him elsewhere. But yeah, those are my rookies at least for the surprise players. If you want to rip some of yours off.
Yeah, I didn't break mine off that way, but I'll go back to my rookies list. I actually like CJ Rattler. Um, definitely just like completely
When you say
died in
sorry, did you
college,
say
but
C.J. Rattler? It's Spencer Rattler.
oh, see, Spencer. Where did I get CJ
I
from?
don't know.
Spencer Rattler.
I heard you say
Uh,
that, and I was like, I'm just gonna have to assume he meant Spencer Rattler.
who is CJ Rattler? I like the pick because you and I both talked about Derek Carr is at least good for missing 3-4 weeks in
Yeah,
a season. And he still like was a notable quarterback in college. So
he
who
was the
knows? Like
number one high school recruit
yeah.
when he got to Oklahoma, and then got replaced by Caleb Williams in his second season, I think, when Caleb Williams was
Yeah.
a true freshman, and then ended up at South
Um,
Carolina and was just fine, I'd say.
yeah, so obviously like things, haven't looked always great for Spencer, but I like the team that he went to. And that's why he's a good rookie pickup in my
Yeah,
opinion. And then Fuaga, the tackle out of Oregon State,
phenomenal.
that is massive for the New Orleans Saints.
I absolutely
Massive,
love Talise
massive.
Fuaga. We talked about that plenty during the draft process.
Yes. For the Falcons and Bucks, I love the way that you put it because I was in the same boat. I didn't put any of the Falcons rookies or the Bucks rookies on here because they all were kind of depth moves. None of these guys are really going to jump out and start right
Yeah,
away. Um, so if you want to go actually now hit your actual surprise players, the
yeah,
ones that aren't rookies.
yeah. I'll start
Go ahead.
with Ray McLeod, and I think with Ray McLeod, it's because like we haven't gotten to see him in a role where like there wasn't already somebody to do the work ahead of him. You know, like obviously Drake London will be the wide receiver 1, and Darnell Mooney probably is the wide receiver 2, but Ray McLeod is going to be involved. It's not going to be like San Francisco at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's also he's going to be the punt returner as well. So he's going to get his looks there. But like he's going to get a chance to like actually get, at least like 4 targets a lot of games. And he can do something with that. He is one of the best wide receivers after the catch. He just doesn't get a lot of targets.
Yeah.
Like last year, he was getting like
Yeah.
7 yards after the catch. Consistent.
Damn. Yeah. I loved him on the Steelers.
Yeah.
He was awesome.
Yeah, and when he was on the Steelers, it was just like there was clear options ahead of him. And so it just kind of screwed him over. So hopefully he gets a chance to see the ball a lot this year.
I like that. Yeah.
Next guy I've got Jadeveon Clowney. I think that's a very, very underrated signing.
He's on mine as well. Yeah.
He's definitely a guy to look out for. Yeah, there's not much else to say. Like, Jadeveon Clowney's just, especially what we saw from him from the Ravens last year. If he can do that for the for the Panthers, like what?
Exactly. Like, and there really isn't much to say with him because he's been doing the same thing the whole time he's been in the NFL. And I think
Yeah.
being on the Panther, like, he's one of those players that being on a different team, I don't think is really going to change anything for him. Like, you could probably argue maybe even over some of the Cleveland years that this is the worst team he's ever been on and he's only gotten older, but I really don't think that either of those two factors are going to come into play for this guy because he just finds the quarterback.
Yeah.
He's just really good at finding the quarterback,
He
so
is.
I like that take.
Yeah. I've got Levante David, like I talked about earlier. It's a surprise because of how long he's been doing it.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna pull a hater move real quick. I'm doing a surprisingly
Oh, no.
bad. Surprisingly
I have a
bad.
couple surprisingly
Alvin
bad.
Kamara.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
no.
I'm doing it. I'm planting that flag. I'm staking my claim, something we haven't done in a long time. A little callback. I'm staking my
Yeah.
claim that I think Alvin Kamara will be surprisingly bad.
Okay.
And look, surprisingly bad for Alvin Kamara is like 1,200 yards from scrimmage, probably, or like 1,400
Yeah.
yards from scrimmage. It's probably bad for Alvin Kamara.
Yeah,
So
that's fair.
it's really not going to be that bad.
All right. Well, with my surprise players, I always like to load my list up because surprise players
Yeah.
is just it's very broad and it's fun. Tyler Algier. It's going to surprise people how still good he is at being a running back too for Atlanta. Darnell Mooney. I mainly put him as a surprise because I have no idea what he's going to look like.
Yeah.
Because in Chicago, people love to meat ride this guy for, in my opinion, no reason. Never really put up any stats. I mean, he had like amazing catches. He had athleticism, but he never proved anything there. So I'm ready to see what Darnell Mooney does on a new team finally. And then Grady Jarrett. I think it's going to surprise people how much Judon affects Grady Jarrett's play, and I think Grady Jarrett could probably be on his way to like a top 2 season in his career.
Awesome. I'm all for it.
Those are all my Falcons. I have a lot of Buccaneers though. Cade Otton,
Yeah.
one of my guys, love him. Chris Godwin is a surprisingly bad for me. I think we're going to see a real decline with Chris Godwin, which is going to help Cade Otton.
That's true.
But with Chris Godwin and Chris Godwin on the downturn, I think it's also going to open the door for Sterling Shepard if he's healthy. When is the last time you saw Sterling Shepard healthy?
Never.
And exactly, and he had, like, in my opinion, some decent years with Odell.
Yeah.
As a Giant. So I would really like to see him play better. Jordan Whitehead, obviously, he's going to be crazy. I also have is it Jamel or Jamal?
Jamel.
Jamel Dean, love that guy. And then I got Tryon Shoyinka. Shoyinka? Inca?
I have no idea who you're talking about.
He's one of the linebackers on the Buccaneers. He's kind of always been good, but I think he's more set up to be even better this year.
All right.
Moving on to the Saints, I have Pete Werner. He is crazy. He might have even could have been on my Defensive Player of the Year. Tyrann Mathieu is going to surprise people, kind of like with what you said with Levante David. He's been doing it for so long. It's still going to be the same for him. And then a surprise player that I was surprised to see when I was looking at the depth chart, Chase Young is a Saint now?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's wild.
Notice
and he's like
he got no
not
mention
even starting. Yeah. For sure. Yeah, I think his career's probably over. I don't know why I feel like that, but unfortunately, yes. Yeah. Moving on to the Panthers, though, Deontay Johnson is a surprisingly bad, and it hurts me to say that. But when I'm looking at him in training camp, and he is still dropping passes like he did in Pittsburgh, he's just not. He's not consistent enough.
Yeah,
ever has been, and even more so now. I don't think he will be. That team is going to be an uphill battle for that guy, and I think it's just going to get even worse for him. However, Jonathan Mingo, I think, is going to be great this year. And then, like you said, Jadeveon Clowney, I'm really high on.
Okay, fantastic. Well, kind of closing thoughts on the division. I kind of feel like everybody out the gates is going to expect the Falcons to just run away with this. But the way that a lot of these schedules start out, it really doesn't favor anybody. With how the schedules start out for a lot of these teams. Like the Saints, yes, week 1 they play the Panthers. Week 2 in Dallas. Week 3, the Eagles come to New Orleans. Then they're at the Falcons. Then they're at the Chiefs. Then they play the Bucs. That's a horrendous way to start the season for the Saints. And then the Falcons open up with the Steelers at home. Then they go to Philly. Then they bring the Chiefs home. They bring the Saints home. They bring the Bucs home. That's a super tough start to the season. And then luckily, you follow that up. Panthers, Seahawks. You go to the Bucs, but then Cowboys, Saints. You get the Broncos and the Chargers, Vikings, Raiders, Giants, Commanders, Panthers. So the back half of the Falcons schedule was set up to win, but you got to get some big needle-moving wins in those first 5 weeks of the season.
But it sounded like you said that there were a lot of home games for those tougher opponents, like the Steelers, the Chiefs. So the Falcons, they're looking set up, I think.
Yeah, and then the Buccaneers.
It sounds hard.
Yeah, you're right. The Buccaneers are also in a weird spot. They open up against the Commanders. Week 2, they're in Detroit. That's probably a loss, if I had to guess. Probably beat the Broncos, be 2-1. I'd say they'll probably lose to the Eagles. We'll see. They beat them in the playoffs
Mhm.
last year. Actually, I think they beat them twice last year. Um,
Yeah.
Nonetheless, they play the Eagles, then they play at Atlanta, at New Orleans, and then they bring the Ravens home. So
Oh,
that's a tough, first like 6, 7 weeks of the season. So none
yeah.
of these top 3 teams in the NFC South have an easy start to the year. So we're gonna out the gates, it's not gonna look great. Like, don't expect it to be perfect. Nobody will be 5-0 in this division, I would say.
Yeah.
So we'll just you gotta wait because by week 7 or week 18, shit, the Falcons could still win 11 games. They could win more.
Yeah.
It's feasible for the Falcons to win 11 or 12 games this season, and for the Broncos to win 10, and the Saints to win 9. That's a real likelihood, honestly.
Yeah.
So you just have to see how it plays out. But
You said
I'm
Broncos. Did you mean Bucks?
oh yeah, I guess. Sorry, I kept saying
Okay. Yeah.
Broncos because
No,
we
you're
were
good.
like everybody in the division plays the Broncos this year. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, the Buccaneers. And obviously the Panthers will max 4 wins, I would say. And that's very generous.
Yeah. I I think this division is still going to be competitive, even though
Yeah,
the
of
Falcons
course.
are on paper leaps and bounds above everybody else now. Yeah, it's still going to be a good division, but to me, the Falcons are obvious champions
Fair enough.
for sure.
Okay, well, next week, the NFC North, which I am excited about as well. Obviously, some things changed with the J.J. McCarthy injury. He's out for the season, so Sam Darnold will be the Vikings quarterback. I believe yesterday, Jordan Addison was carted off the field. I haven't heard anything about that yet.
Did he also get arrested?
Yeah, he did get arrested. DUI, I think, or maybe it's just like a super speeder. I can't remember, but I know it was like 3 in the
Hmm.
morning when he got pulled over. Might have
What
just
are
been
you
like
doing,
reckless
dog?
driving. I don't know. But yeah, Jordan Addison did get pulled over at some point this offseason. So the Vikings, I already thought they were going to be in 4th. I'm going to be honest, but we'll save that for next
Yeah.
week. So yeah, we've got 2 more divisions to go, and literally like our last preview is the week heading into, or the week before the Thursday night opener.
Okay. That's
So
perfect.
yeah,
Works out.
lot to look forward to. And what's going to be great too is that first week of the NFL season, we're going to have Thursday night football, Friday night football in Brazil, and then college football on
Yeah.
Saturday, and then a full slate Sunday. And I think maybe a Monday night doubleheader. I can't remember. I think it might just be one Monday night game. But
So much NFL. I'm not going to know
so
what to
much
do with
football.
myself, brother.
Thursday through Monday, nonstop football. I can't wait
Oh,
for week 1
God.
of the NFL season. But for now, got to keep coming back each week, see the division previews. We got the NFC North and the NFC East left to go. NFC North next week, the East after that. Let's preview the Premier League season. Let's try not to spend too much time here. Let's start. I know you did a top 10 prediction. So the Premier League season, excuse me, Premier League season
Whoa
starts.
there. Whoa.
Sorry. Starts today as you're listening to this. So I believe it's like fucking what, Man U versus Burnley or some shit to open the season. It sucks.
Love
Uh,
that.
Most of the games are this weekend though. There's one game today on Friday. But Premier League season will be in full swing as of you listening to this. So we're going to do a little bit of a season preview, just talk through some of the top teams, bottom teams, top players, maybe even some bottom players if you want. Yeah, we'll let you go through your top 10 because I only did a top 4. So I'll let you take the floor.
Yeah, I got it. So I'll work up from 10th to 1st. That way it's more of a surprise, I guess, at who I think's going to win the whole thing. Unfortunately, Grayson, I have Newcastle coming in 10th. Kind of like looking at their transfer window, I don't think they address the depth problem that you had kind
Agreed.
of talked about all season long. And it just a really confusing transfer window for Newcastle. If I was Newcastle, I would want to jump on it, this summer. And they didn't really do that. And then again, it could be because of the soccer tournaments that were going on. I know that kind of delays a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But really, really would have liked to have seen Newcastle do more because they could have and they didn't. So I have them at 10th.
Yeah, I do think I just want to point this out. I do think that financial
ahead.
fair play was an issue heading into this summer. I believe, just kind of coming off the back of the moves we've made over the last year. I do think that was in place. So it was a matter of like, okay, well, we're gonna have to sell some guys to bring in guys. So we didn't make a ton of big moves. But I agree with you though. We're not gonna finish very highly.
Crystal Palace, I have right above y'all at 9th. Really high on Crystal Palace this year, even though they've lost some guys.
Yeah,
I
don't
think
like that they're losing Mark Gahey most likely, and they already lost Crescencio Somerville. Or sorry, was he in Leeds?
Elise,
was he from Leeds? Somerville, or was he from Palace?
I don't know.
I can't remember. I think he was Leeds. But you're right. Elise is gone.
Yep.
So a number of people leaving Crystal Palace as per usual.
Yep. Tottenham are going to finish 8th. West Ham 7th.
I think that's low for Tottenham.
Liverpool 6th. I honestly, you're probably right. I like West Ham a lot better than I like Tottenham this year.
I like West Ham a lot.
Dude, the Nicholas Füllkrug signing, he might win Ballon d'Or. I don't even know, dude. That's such a good signing for West Ham. Liverpool 6th. I have Chelsea at 5th. I don't know how that's going to go.
Okay.
Liverpool, I'm really low on, though, which I think opens the door for Chelsea.
And
to
not a lot
5th.
of people are. I was looking through a lot of people's predictions. Not a lot of people are low on Liverpool. I am. I think, look, you're naturally going to have to adjust after you had one of the best managers in your team's history.
And yep.
There is an adjustment period.
On top of that, they're like in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers pool where they're good players. They haven't done very much to replace them.
Yeah.
Like Van Dijk's only getting older. Salah's only getting older. And I see a lot of holes forming in their lineup that they're not going to be prepared for on top of losing Jurgen Klopp. So that's why I have Liverpool so low. Chelsea 5th, which is debatable. I just kind of figured like with me putting Tottenham and Liverpool so low, I could maybe fit Chelsea in my top 5. Yeah. 4th, I think, is going to be Villa. 3rd is going to be Manchester United when all their players get healthy. Yep. Then it's going to go City, Arsenal.
Okay.
Arsenal's going to win the league.
We have very similar top 4s.
Oh, wow.
So my number 4 is Manchester United because I agree with you. I think they're going to have a slow start. And it might be really hard to catch up. I think Villa is going to be number 3. Damn. And then I think it's going to be
Villa
City and then Arsenal. I really like Villa.
That.
Like it was pretty obvious like last season I really liked what Unai Emery did with that team. The fact that they kept Ollie Watkins is like the biggest factor in them being top 3 cuz like they're not like stacked with like unbelievable talent, but they are doing a fantastic job of keeping good players in and bringing in more to help them out.
Yeah, it's
like the only notable loss was Moussa Diaby, and he didn't do really all that much last year.
Yeah, you're retaining good players, you have a good system, and you have awesome depth. So, and sometimes that's all it takes. You don't have to have star power kind of thing. But
it's risky for both of us to take Arsenal to win the league because that essentially just means Man City's going to do it 4 years in a row.
Yeah, pretty much.
I've
seen
too many people taking Arsenal to win the league.
Really?
Honestly, I have. I've seen too many, in my opinion.
It won't happen.
Because it's only because nobody has ever four-peated the Premier League.
Yeah.
So...
Has that really never happened before? Sir Alex Ferguson never did it?
Nope.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, I really don't want it to be Manchester City, bro.
Let's go to the other side of the table, though. Who are your relegation predictions? I would
Everton.
Before you go past Everton.
Okay.
I do not want last year to happen again. I can't stand 3 teams coming up and going right back down. That sucked.
Oh yeah, I know.
That was
That was
so
stupid.
bad last year. It made it so uncompetitive. And I think the
Yeah.
teams that have been promoted, a couple of them have a fighting chance to stay up.
Obviously, Leicester. I don't think they're going to get relegated.
I do.
Oh, really?
I think of the teams that made good moves, they were not one of them. And I don't think Southampton did either. I'm going to be honest. I've got two of them going down. I've got Southampton and Leicester going back down. But Ipswich
You have
stays
Ipswich
up.
staying?
Yeah. Dude,
Oh,
Kieran
no
McKenna
way.
is a fantastic manager, and they made a number of very good, underrated moves that will like keep them. Look, they're not finishing higher than 16th probably, but they'll
Yeah.
probably stay up.
You know what? I love that. Ipswich is actually the only team that came up that I have going down.
Okay, fair enough. I was very
Yeah,
close with
so
Everton
I
too.
think-
I think it's gonna be a fucking brutal race at the bottom. I think like the bottom, like from 14 down might be trying to escape relegation within like the last 2 months of the season.
That would be awesome. But you're going to have to enlighten me about Ipswich Town because I have them coming in 19th, Everton 18th, and Nottingham Forest in 20th.
Okay. Yeah, I have Southampton in 20th, and then Nottingham Forest in 19th, Leicester in 18th.
So we both have Nottingham Forest going down.
Yeah. I think with Leicester, it's the change at manager I don't love. And then they didn't make a lot of enticing moves. They lost a number of players that I thought were key parts of the team that brought them back up. That's the main reason for Leicester. Everton was super close for me. Brentford as well. Underrated bad summer outside of even Tony staying. Like everything else was really bad about Brentford's summer. Fulham might even be down there near the bottom as well. They had a bad summer, losing Yao Polina, notably. So
what about Wolves?
Yeah, Wolves could be down there too.
I could see Wolves too.
But Wolves is very good at just like a couple of players just doing their thing and keeping them up.
I know.
Like
they
Wolves,
lost Neto to Chelsea.
Yeah, that's true. But Wolves could literally be anywhere. Like I could see them being 17th, and I could see them being like fucking 8th.
Yeah,
they just
same.
do that, and I won't know a single reason why either direction.
Yeah.
I won't be able to explain to you why it will happen that way, but it might. So with Ipswich, like I said, I love the manager. Kieran McKenna's awesome. There was a reason he got top level interest and didn't take any of those deals. He has something with Ipswich, and the thing is he's a good enough manager. What?
I'm cooking. Oh, he's cooking.
Yeah, no, he is, and I think like look, Ipswich Town made the familiar moves. They went out and got some older guys that have been around the block and whatever. But they also picked up a lot of guys that were good players in the championship last year, which I very highly value because there's a lot of talent in the championship that could play in the Prem, but they're not going to start necessarily on big teams, so they don't get the move up because the lower half teams aren't spending money on championship players. They're looking elsewhere. So this is where, like, an Ipswich Town has the chance to just put together a solid squad. Do I think they'll be up for 3 years? No. But they can last one.
Okay. I like that take.
Okay. Let's talk surprise teams. Who do you have as, like, a surprisingly good team? Because my primary one is West Ham.
Yeah. So we're equal there, but I also included a surprisingly bad team, and that's where I put in Liverpool for the same reasons. You have good players getting old, not bringing in replacements, and no Jurgen Klopp. So that's pretty much just echoing what I said earlier. But West Ham, I think are going to be great. They could come in like 6th.
I was literally about to say I almost put West Ham at 4 over Manchester United.
Yeah.
Which is like insane to think about. But the team that they have put together over these last 2 summers is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It is really unbelievable. And the fact, like, we have been loving this Nicholas Füllkrug move because Mikel Antonio is such a fucking horrendous striker. And he's just skated his way by getting starts at West Ham for years now.
Derek Carr.
Yeah. Mikel Antonio is like Derek Carr.
Yeah,
But I guess Derek Carr probably gets hurt more. Mikel Antonio
for sure.
certainly has his fair share of injuries, though. But
Yeah.
yeah, West Ham finally has put together a squad that I'm like impressed by.
Yes.
So I
And
really do think that they could have like a super, super strong season all the way through. Um,
yeah,
Definitely better than how last year ended, I would say, because they really fell off a cliff there at the end of the season, and it really hurt them. But I also
for
have
sure. Yeah.
Liverpool surprisingly bad, and I think it's only just because like it's going to take some time to get used to it, like we've already talked about, and having a bad start is really hard to come back from.
Yes.
You see a lot
Yeah.
more teams have good starts and fall off than bad starts and turn it around.
100%.
So I think with Liverpool, if you start the season, in your first 10 matches, you win, 5 or 6, it's over almost.
Yeah. And another thing with Liverpool, if we want to break it down and like throw some names around, Darwin Núñez is too shaky to be a Premier League
Yeah.
striker. Cody Gakpo, since the transfer window where he signed, just hasn't really been it like he was when he first got
He
there.
doesn't have a role.
Gravenberch, yeah, and they
He
move him
doesn't-
around
yeah,
like anywhere.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Um, we saw Virgil van Dijk kind of have a shaky Euro, in my
Yeah,
opinion. He had
I
really
would
good
say.
games, but he also had some games where he was brutal. Um, there was one more player I wanted to talk about. Endo is just simply not good enough to play for Liverpool. Sorry, I he's not going to help you out too much there. And I kind of feel the same way about Gravenberg. I did like both of those signings at the time, but when you
Because they
have
really needed
all
it.
these, yeah, but when you have all of these good players, like I said, getting older, and all of these new replacements kind of just like not being like starting 11 consistent, like
Yeah,
potential there. Liverpool are gonna suck this year.
I agree. My other surprise team is Chelsea. For a good surprise.
Oh wow,
I
let's hear it.
and I don't know if it's exactly a surprise to say that Chelsea would finish like top 6 because they're very good at bringing in talented players. Like, look, obviously Todd Bowley has spent ungodly amounts of money since he has owned this team, but they're kind of volume shooting, you know?
Yeah,
Like they're just putting shots up and like some of them have to land.
yeah,
And like I think the nice thing is that the depth moves are probably the ones that will. Maybe it's not going to be the starting quality guys that land, but like Dewsbury Hall, underrated
yeah.
as fuck signing that I love for
You think
Chelsea.
so?
And like the
He's
guys
a
that they're letting go, I have no problems with too. That's the thing that I love. Obviously, I'm not a fan of the club, so like I don't know all the players, but like I know Caliber or however you say it. He's been with the team since he was like born. Um, so that
Yeah.
sucks that he's leaving, but he didn't have a spot, in my opinion. And Armando Broja needed to be moved on from, personally.
Yes.
Obviously,
Yep.
I don't think Nicholas Jackson is just going to emerge as what I thought he would be when they first signed him, but he's fine for now. If you want to go out and get something, you should. You still have 15 days to do so. 16 days
Yeah.
from the time we're talking. You can go figure it out. But if you don't, at least you have contributors around the field. We saw it last year. People were able to step up and contribute. Cole Palmer contributed as much as he possibly could have. And even if he has a step back from last year, there are other contributors on this team that can make a difference. That's what's
Yeah.
nice about going out and having these big transfer windows 2 years in a row.
A healthy Christopher Nkunku is
Yeah.
very exciting for
Yeah.
me.
He could be your striker. He's played the false 9 a lot. If you wanted to run a false 9 where you let Cole Palmer play on the right wing or even at Cam right behind him, and they almost play like a 2-striker formation that feeds your wingers that play into the box, like it will work. They will find some way for it to work.
Yeah, I like that take.
And
Yeah.
obviously we'll have to see. It's Maresca. That's the name of the manager, correct? The last name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enzo Maresca.
Yes, I think so. I'm interested to see what he has to offer because I haven't gotten to watch much of him.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. Any other surprise teams?
No,
Okay.
just West Ham and Liverpool for me.
So player of the year is a weird one because recently, at least, every single time the champion has had the player of the year.
Yeah.
So all you can really do is put Arsenal and Man City players here.
Yeah, I had a different player, but you probably know who it is.
Cole Palmer.
Yeah, it's getting chilly up in here, Grayson.
Okay. I gotta know. Did he actually accuse Trae Young of stealing that from him? Because Trae Young did that so far before anybody even knew who Cole Palmer was.
I never heard about that, so I don't know.
Somebody tried to say that Cole Palmer accused Trae Young of stealing that from him. Trae Young has been Ice Trae his entire time in the NBA.
Yeah. Listen to Culture One.
Facts.
Or no, Quality Control. Ice Trade Again.
Yeah, that was Quality
Ice,
Control.
Ice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What an interesting
that song.
album.
Yeah, that was a weird album, but I
Yeah.
really liked it.
That was was Ice Trae the same one with the Joe Budden diss like in the chorus? I think it was.
Maybe.
I think it was.
I think it is.
What
Yeah.
a weird thing to think about. Okay.
Yeah.
Player of the year. I've got a couple of names I wanted to throw out there. I think right now we are in the age of respecting the holding midfielder so much.
Oh,
So
okay.
Declan Rice and Rodri are my two top picks.
Love both of those. I also want to throw out Ollie Watkins as well.
Yeah, Ollie Watkins is fantastic. And then
Especially if you have Villa coming in third,
yeah,
Ollie Watkins could be
he could
there
definitely
for
be there.
sure.
I see him as like
Yeah.
a 20. I think he's going to score like 25 goals this year.
Which would be sick for him.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I have to put Holland and De Bruyne because I don't want to be wrong. Like those guys could definitely be there. I didn't like what I saw from Foden at the Euros. Maybe he's a Pep Guardiola merchant. Maybe it was just lightning in a bottle last season, so I didn't put Foden here. I am still a huge Phil Foden fan. Just did not like what I saw for him from him for England.
That's fair.
I like I said, I forgot to remind you about Young Player of the Year. I'm taking Kobe Mainu. He I think is my obvious pick when you look at the young players around the Premier League right now.
Yeah, Kobe Mainu.
The way that he held his own in the Euros was so big for my view of him.
What if somehow like Foden just has really hit this cold spot from the Euros, and then Young Player of the Year ends up going to like Doku or something
Is
crazy?
he young
like that?
enough? I don't know if he is.
I always remember Doku being super young.
What about Oscar
About to
Bob?
look it up. He's in my surprise players. Yeah, Doku's 22.
He's in my surprise players too. I put Oscar Bob there because I literally just said always look out for Oscar Bob. Only because he's always going to show up at some random fucking time and do something.
And he has like a top 3 name of all time.
Yeah, fantastic name to say. It's very entertaining. It rolls off the tongue real nice. But yeah, for Player of the Year, it was Declan Rice, Rodri, Holland, De Bruyne in that order. Personally, I guess like Odegaard would be there as well as a candidate for Arsenal.
Like that. What about Saka?
It's tough with Saka because he notoriously gets injured rather often. Whenever he has a bad game, he just acts like he's injured as well, which I hate. I absolutely hate that.
Old reliable for soccer players. Make a bad pass, just kind of go to the ground a little bit. Like,
have you seen like the highlights essentially of Bukayo Saka doing that last season? It was like every single time he had a bad game. He did it for England too in the Euros. Every time he had a bad game, he would just like something would happen and he'd just be like on the ground. It's like, come on, man.
Love that.
Or it'd be like the 85th minute and he'd start limping. It's so bad.
Take me out.
So bad. But yeah, I think for Young Player of the Year, Kobe Mainu is like the clear favorite just because of how quickly he emerged onto the scene last year and then held his own at the Euros.
He's seriously a guy that I have begun to like root for heavily.
Yeah,
I
Me
love
too.
Kobe Manu.
And I hate
Yeah.
Manchester United.
Yeah, me too.
I like Kobe Manu.
Me too.
Surprise player of the year. I have another Manchester United player to start this off. I'm going with Xerxes.
Oh, I forgot about
Yeah, I
Xerxes.
think
That's
he's
a
an
good pick.
underrated pickup. I think he's quickly going to emerge as a better option for how Manchester United plays than Rasmus Højlund. I still like Rasmus
Yeah.
Højlund. I still think he can be a very good player. I just don't see a world where they integrate both of them into the lineup. And Xerxes seems like at the moment the guy that would start over him.
And it's kind of weird, like being at 2024 and we're watching the Premier League, you're finally starting to see United kind of move away from Marcus Rashford, at least at striker, which is
God.
wild. Yeah, I mean,
he
they
has
needed
been
to.
so bad. Even in the preseason this year, he's been bad.
Yeah.
Like I don't know
And
what
injured.
happened to him, but he needs to transfer out. He needs to go somewhere else. Probably
For
outside
sure.
of the Premier
I don't
League,
even.
honestly.
That's what I'm thinking too. Yeah.
I think he needs to
Yep.
go make like a top tier Italian move, probably.
Yeah, I
Just
like
go
that.
figure something out there. That's where guys go to figure their
something.
shit out and then they come back.
Yeah.
Still
Yeah.
waiting on Tammy Abraham.
Yeah.
He's taking a little longer than most.
How about Lewis Hall? Surprise player.
He's on my list as well. So
no way.
yes, we have incredibly similar lists. But yeah, I have
Wow.
Lewis Hall here mainly because I would love for him to be a breakout player, because I want it to be proved to me why we made his deal permanent. We barely saw him get on the field last year. Definitely didn't see him in anything that mattered, really. Like, we saw him late in some close games, but that was mainly a depth thing. And then deciding to make this loan permanent was just a very surprising moment to me. I've voiced my issues, though, with our fullbacks. I really would not be mad if we saw him and Tino Livramento start some games as the two fullbacks. I know Trippier,
That's
Trippier
big.
needs some breaks now and then. He's an older fullback now. And it's also he might not be here by the end of the season. He might not be here by September. So having Lewis Hall as an option at 19 years old could be awesome.
I think Lewis Hall should have gotten more playing time last year.
I agree.
With all the injuries.
I think between
everything.
him and Livramento, yes, Livramento started getting some options. Like when Trippier went down for a couple of weeks, Livramento started. But Dan Burn, once again, fucking sucks. I hate him. Respect that he's a Newcastle fan, lifelong. I can't stand watching him play. So my next guy, Savio, for Man City. Obviously, he's just been passed around the City group teams for the last year. But I think he could quickly emerge as better than Doku and just immediately take his spot. Super talented winger.
That. Yeah.
I think he's fantastic. He does everything that you'd want Jeremy Doku to do. But instead, Doku just likes to walk up into your face and dribble. Savio's much better when it comes to just creating opportunities. And that's what Manchester City needs. They just need somebody that is not going to steal the show. Get the ball to De Bruyne, get the ball to Haaland, get the ball to Foden even, and just let them do the work for you. That's what City needs around their players.
Yeah. No, I completely agree.
And of course, Oscar Bob.
Do you have any more surprise? Yes, Oscar Bob.
In Oscar Bob we trust.
Yes, we always do. I have Lewis Hall, Oscar Bob, Nkunku, because we haven't seen him in so long. It's going to be a surprise when he takes the field. And then Nicholas Fulkrug. This is kind of
that's fair.
The part
probably
of
put him there.
He fits in. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Those are my guys.
Right. Well, man, I'm excited. It feels like such a quick turnaround with the European events practically just concluding almost literally a month ago. It feels like such a quick turnaround for soccer. I love it though.
Should we run through the schedule for kickoff?
Oh yeah, we'll hit that real quick. We're not quite at 2
we don't
hours
have to
yet, so we're not worried.
We don't have to talk about every game, but
Yeah.
we got some good games in here. Like Chelsea, Man City.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Maybe not for y'all, but it's a great matchup.
It is a great matchup.
Yeah, so the opening game is Manchester United Fulham. Sorry. I think I said Burnley earlier. They got relegated. Manchester United Fulham. That one will open it up, and then get an exciting one Saturday morning if you really want to get up at 7:30 and watch Ipswich versus Liverpool.
Yep.
That one at Portman Road. Never know what could happen there, man.
Uh-oh.
I'm just saying, Kieran McKenna might show up, catch Arne Slot on his back foot.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, all the 10 o'clock games, you got Arsenal Wolves, Everton Brighton, Newcastle Southampton, which we need for our confidence going into the year, and then Nottingham Forest Bournemouth, which sucks. And then 12:30 standalone, West Ham versus Aston Villa. I actually fucking love that. I love West Ham Aston Villa. I think that's a fantastic preview for an intense matchup later in the year. Sunday, you've got Brentford Crystal Palace, Chelsea Man City, and then Monday, Leicester versus Spurs, which would have been awesome in, what was that, 2016?
Yeah.
Been a great matchup.
I know. They came 1-2 that year.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, it flips back over to next Saturday, which will be the beginning of Premier League weekend every week.
Love it. Love it.
I know I put it on our Google Calendar for the podcast, so I'm going to pull up that calendar real quick. The Champions League starts within like the next 2 months, I believe. Champions League group stage is scheduled for September 13th is the day that episode would come out. So we also have the Champions League to be looking forward to very soon. So a lot of stuff going on for soccer. So probably our regularly scheduled programming, as we've done last season, Premier League weekend, Champions League coverage. That's kind of what we'll stick to. If there's any big things that happen, we got the chance to talk about Bayer Leverkusen a lot last year. Any big stories that are going on, of course, we'll still cover that kind of in our soccer segment of the podcast.
We should try to follow Jose Mourinho and Fenerbahce.
Yeah. We'll give it a shot, man. You know what? I'll task you with that. You bring that to the podcast every week. Give us the Fenerbahce
That'll
minute.
be my beat. Yeah.
Yeah. The Mourinho minute every week from Luke.
Yes.
Very much looking forward to that. And what I'm really looking forward to is it's questions time. First time doing the remote questions in a while. Feels weird as well. I'm used to having Ethan read them to me.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the coolest amusement park you've been to? I'm not a huge amusement park guy, personally. But...
I'm not either. Would water parks count? Or do they have to strictly be amusement parks?
I think that counts.
High Falls in McDonough, Georgia is my favorite water park. My favorite amusement park would probably be Fun Spot in Kissimmee.
Nice. Nice.
Right outside of Orlando.
Yeah, I didn't hate Universal Orlando. It's not bad.
Yeah.
I was a little bit younger. I was probably early in high school, maybe in middle school. I might even enjoy it more now as a kid. Sorry, not as a kid, as an adult. Might enjoy it more now as an adult. I really don't know. Never been to Disney. I will say Legoland, phenomenal. If you've never been.
Never been to Legoland.
Legoland is awesome. So before Ethan was born, Legoland San Diego opened. It was the first Legoland. And my family did a trip out there. And that's one of the first trips that I remember going on as a young child, because I was 3.
Yeah.
That was the first trip I remember. So Legoland was awesome, and it was great when they opened the one in Florida as well. We went when that one had kind of just opened as well. Legoland's great. Universal's great. Fun Spot, not bad. I've been there as well. I think maybe did we talk about that on the podcast, or
pretty sure we've been to the same one? Yeah.
Yeah, we did, and crazy story. And once again, I don't remember if we talked about this on the podcast, but we left Fun Spot. And we're eating at a Buffalo Wild Wings with my cousins, and then on the news saw that the Fun Spot got shot up after we left.
Yes.
Absolutely insane. Don't remember if I already told that story. But next question, what would you name an expansion MLS team? This is interesting, because I think you kind of have to choose the city if you're going to name it as well.
I was about to say, yeah.
I think they need to get more creative. I'm going to be honest. We've been seeing some boring fucking names.
Sacramento Rush.
Okay. That sounds very like NASL. Like
It is.
Sacramento would be a big
It
time
is.
NASL city.
Yeah.
See, like, look, I kind of like the fact that the MLS has kind of pushed back into like the traditional naming style of European soccer. So like you
Yeah.
just get like this place FC. That's the problem
You're united.
with soccer expansion in general. Is like you, nobody really has mascots
No.
in
No.
soccer. So it's tough. I don't really know what I would name an expansion team personally. Because I don't really know where I want them to expand to, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. I get that.
I don't care about the MLS. We've had this conversation a number of times.
Yeah.
It's just not my cup of tea, personally. You'll almost never
Uh,
catch me watching even an Inter Miami game. I wouldn't watch most likely.
yeah.
Also, I'm not getting the
You're
fucking
you're valid.
Apple TV season pass. Fuck off with that. That is
Yeah.
not happening. Um,
Absolutely not.
Yeah, like I said, I have no answer. I don't even know what I would say. What would you say? That's funny. What would you say is your favorite baseball player's favorite player? Who do you think your favorite player's favorite player is?
I mean, Aaron Judge has got to be a Jeter guy, right?
I
Probably.
don't know. Grew up in California.
He may have actually said Barry Bonds before.
That would make sense. Because what area of California is Judge? Is Judge from California? I know he went to Fresno State, so I just kind of assumed he was from California. Um, yeah, Linden, California,
I don't
which
even know where that's at.
is in San Joaquin County, and it is
SoCal, NoCal.
NoCal, for sure. It's just outside San Francisco and Sacramento. So Barry
Okay.
Bonds would make sense for sure.
Yeah.
Right outside of Stockton, if you know where Stockton is, north of Modesto. Um, if you know your California geography. um,
I
yeah,
don't.
I'm trying to. I don't even. I honestly, at the moment, I couldn't name a favorite player in the MLB. Is that crazy? I like Ronald
Yeah.
Acuna is probably my favorite.
Yeah.
Um, but
Any
I'm gonna be
Ramirez.
honest. I'm a fair weather fan when it comes to picking actual players. I'm not. I don't want to root for a bad player. I don't want to root for Austin Riley, who's been sucking all year. But
Oh
I probably
God,
would say
here he
Austin Riley is
comes.
my favorite MLB player. I think Austin Riley's favorite player is probably Chipper Jones. He grew up in Mississippi, which is Braves country. He was a third baseman growing up. Got to spend time with Chipper in his time coming up with the Braves. So I would assume Austin Riley's favorite player is Chipper Jones.
The Braves have a lot of weird Braves country, don't they? Like you got Curacao,
Yeah.
Mississippi,
Yeah. Well,
probably
so the whole
Tennessee.
so Braves country's crazy because now Braves country is, Mississippi and over. So like Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, obviously Georgia, the Carolinas, primarily South Carolina, more than North Carolina, but North Carolina is definitely Braves country still. And
Yeah.
then even North Florida. A lot of
I was
Braves
gonna say,
fans
what
in
about the
North Florida.
Panhandle?
Yeah, Panhandle's a
Yeah.
lot of Braves fans because
Yeah.
the Panhandle people are nowhere close to the clientele of Tampa and Miami. They
No.
are
No, they're not.
Georgia people through and through. They're just the same.
Yeah.
They are one and the same. The Panhandle is the extension of Georgia and Alabama. They just gave it to
Yeah.
Florida because it's a beach.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Braves country. But like it used to be that we were nationally broadcasted, so like there's fans everywhere of the Braves.
Yeah.
Um,
That is true.
but yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon. Even Braves country leaks up into Kentucky.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Northern Kentucky, they're all kind of Cincinnati Reds fans, and you get some Cardinals fans as well, especially like Western Tennessee. You'll get some Cardinals fans.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but for the most part, Braves country is kind of that standard, the Southeast, really. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think yeah, that's a tough question to answer. It's like I have no idea. If we're doing like one of those, like if we're doing it like how people are like, you know, favorite, I'm your favorite, blah blah's favorite something like the Chapel Roan
Yeah.
thing. I'm your favorite artist thing. If we're doing it like that, then the guy that's like the underrated dude that everybody roots for, is much tougher with baseball for sure. I'd say
Yes.
your favorite pitcher's favorite pitcher is probably Greg Maddux.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
That's fair.
Hitter is tough. It really is tough because there's so many guys to choose from.
Yeah.
But when I think of that, like I
Ed Williams.
associate, but like that's so long ago.
I know.
That's the
Yeah.
thing is like you gotta kind of go for a guy that's pitched in like a relatively modern time, like the 90s, 2000s. Like I feel like, and it's probably a five tool kind of guy, I would say. Maybe like, it's definitely got to be like a Hall of Fame guy, but not maybe like they have to be underrated, but they can't be like not great. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm trying to think of who fits that category as a hitter. Um, and I really can't. I really don't know.
Your favorite hitter's favorite hitter is Albert Pujols.
Yeah, that's not a bad one at all. I like that. Or even like Miguel Cabrera.
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Both those guys.
yeah, I like that.
Or Ken Griffey.
Yeah,
Ken Griffey Jr.
that's true. But he's
For
also like
sure.
regarded as one of the best ever. So like it's kind of
That is true.
I don't know. It kind of fits the mold, but we'll see. How far do you think you could do a long jump? Not far at all.
Oh God, very, very not far.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 2 feet. I know they measure meters, but 2 feet, which is a fraction of
Rah,
a
this is
meter.
America.
Wait, hold on.
Um,
Is long jump? Am I thinking of long jump or broad jump? Broad jump is standing. Long jump is running.
running.
Okay, I was thinking
Yeah.
of broad jump then. Long jump, definitely 2 feet. That's where I'll stop because it's also like you got to keep your balance, or it's where the furthest part back of you touches the sand.
I'll probably go like 3 or 4 feet. I don't have good balance though
Yeah,
whatsoever.
I don't think I have the
So
launch. Like, yeah, I can run, and like that momentum's gonna push me forward, but I don't think I have the launch while running.
yeah.
Like, I might have just as good of a chance broad jumping than long jumping.
Yeah.
Honestly, I
Same.
really don't know. What the hell is happening to the Vikings? Well, we kind of already addressed that, but yeah, JJ McCarthy's done. Jordan Addison might be hurt. Seems as though
No
everything's
more
falling
Daniil
apart.
Hunter.
Yeah, no more Daniil Hunter, no
Um,
more Kirk, no more, nothing except Justin Jefferson.
more Josh Dobbs, right?
Yeah,
I don't
that's
even think
true.
he's
He's
there
gone.
anymore.
He is gone.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson is definitely gonna want to get traded soon.
Too
Not
bad.
not
He
even.
just got locked up, bro.
Yeah, that is true.
You're not
I
trading
totally
that
forgot that he
contract.
just got locked up. No, not at all.
Yeah, I have no
No.
idea, but it's not good.
Yeah, the Vikings have fallen off my Super Bowl prediction last year. 0 to hero, 0 to 0. Actually, more like 0 to 0.
Yeah. Yeah, very much 0 to 0.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what's happening with the Vikings. They're falling apart. Who do
yeah.
you think will be the biggest fantasy bust?
Devontae Adams.
Ooh, interesting. He does have a shit quarterback room. Um,
Yeah,
I can understand that. I'm gonna go.
maybe
I'm gonna go
Tony
Josh
Pollard, Austin
Jacobs.
Eckler. Josh Jacobs good too. Yeah.
Actually, no, sorry, not Josh Jacobs. Sorry, I was thinking of Aaron Jones, not Josh Jacobs. Aaron Jones, I think is gonna be a
Oh,
bust. Even though I guess the Vikings aren't gonna be that bad for him now.
it's
um,
true. He's the
but
only one left.
yeah, but yeah, I don't think Aaron Jones will be all that great. I guess honestly, Josh Jacobs as well because that Packers offense is not gonna run the ball a lot.
Yeah,
I would like to have
definitely not.
I would like the ball in the hands of Jordan Love as much as possible.
Yes.
For
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
I think it's kind of tough.
Man.
I'm trying to think quarterbacks. Who's going to be a quarterback bust?
Maybe Herbo.
Yeah, maybe Aaron Rodgers, unfortunately.
Maybe Aaron Rodgers too. Yeah.
I do think they're going to run the ball a lot. They're trying to keep him healthy.
What about Burrow?
Ooh, I don't know. I think he's primed to bounce back.
Yeah, but this Jamar stuff kind of has me worried about him
That's
for
true.
fantasy at
Yeah,
least.
Jamar is tough, but then again, T is locked up now. He decided to
Yeah.
do the franchise tag. Um, so that
But
makes the
isn't he like
Jamar
not
situation
happy at
easier.
all?
I don't think he's happy. I think it's that they were able to settle something where they're like, okay, once this year's over, fully test the market. Because this year it was all kind of tangled up, like what was gonna happen. I think next
Yeah.
year the idea is like go test the market. Um Jamar, he doesn't even need an extension yet. He can't sign it until the
No.
the season starts. So it doesn't matter.
Oh,
Um, but I understand why he wants those talks to begin. He deserves his money, especially when Jetta's just got paid. And, CD is looming. Obviously, it might not be the Cowboys to pay CD. He might get paid next year by somebody else, but they
very
need to
true.
pay him. Yeah, I really don't know who the biggest bust would be in particular, but I could say I would say running back Aaron Jones and Josh Jacobs are guys that for the last couple of years have been drafted in like the top 5 rounds. I wouldn't. I
No.
personally wouldn't. Any sleepers maybe for fantasy? Obviously, you don't want to give away any of your sleepers. I am in a league with you. Once again,
Yeah.
that work league is going to
I
be
don't even have.
hell. It's going to be
You think
hell.
so?
I guarantee it. Especially because,
Why?
dude, because me, you, and Colin aren't in the mix anymore.
That is true.
So we can't be finessing trades at work because we don't work with everybody anymore.
But I didn't even get to do that last year.
I know. But then again, I never make trades in fantasy football. I don't know why, but I can't stand it because I always have somebody where I'm like, I'm not giving him up. He's good. And he's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe I just need to draft players I don't want.
I would still say Rashad White is a sleeper.
All right, whatever, dude.
Bro, he was for me last year.
But he wasn't
was
even that
decent.
good. He was better the year
I
before.
thought he was all right. I don't even remember what he did the year before last.
The year before last, he was great.
Oh man.
All right. I think that's where we'll end it. I think we did a good job of not going too long. 2:15 is kind of, it's a little bit longer than we've been doing in studio, but we had a lot of stuff off top that we had to get through with the headlines. Obviously, that won't be the case as much later.
There really was like a fuck ton of news, like more so than a lot of
way
other
more
times
than
this summer.
Yeah, and way more than we even talked about. There was a lot of things
For
happening
sure.
that we didn't even get to.
Yeah. Dude, actually, real fast, I have news on both of the Bears wide receivers before we get out of here.
Keenan Allen put on 20 pounds. Did you see that?
Yeah, that was one of them.
Okay, that's
that was what
ridiculous.
I was gonna say.
He's like 230.
Yeah, 230.
We can talk about this next week if it's about Bears receivers. We're gonna be talking about the Bears.
Because I don't know where my phone is. I do know though. DJ Moore said that his off-season diet was like Mountain Dew and chips or something like that.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, Hard Knocks has been
Love
pretty
him.
solid with the Bears. 2 episodes in with that.
I keep forgetting about it, bro. I need to watch that.
Yeah,
I've been
gonna be
rewatching
honest.
the Avengers actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest. I as of right now, 2 episodes in, I'm not as amused as I thought I would be by the Bears. I think it's pretty obvious that they're gonna be pretty good. The Jets were a question mark last year, and it made it interesting because you had Rodgers. But like, I haven't found Caleb Williams all that entertaining, personally.
Yeah.
I think there's been fun moments. Like they did the quarterback room doing like sliding drills, and they did like a slip and slide. That was like a funny sequence. And like, I don't know, there hasn't been as many unsung heroes as I would have wanted. We got, introduced to a couple of guys, some late round draft picks. Velus Jones Jr. Is in that is on that team, just trying to fight for a spot at like every position. He's getting reps at wide receiver, running back, kick return, everything.
Jesus.
So he's gonna be a fun one to watch. But yeah, I think Hard Knocks has been all right. Personally, I don't think it's the best.
Yeah. My favorite Caleb Williams moment in the NFL so far is when he was in like that big lecture hall with all of his like Bears teammates, and he's like, Hi, my name's
That's
Caleb
from Hard
Williams. I
Knocks.
went to
Yeah.
USC, and my signing bonus was 23.5 or something ridiculous like that. And everybody just lost their
so
mind.
they had the same moment with Roma Dunze because he was also a top 10 pick. He was like, my signing bonus was like 13 million before taxes.
Damn.
And everybody was like, oh shit.
I love it.
So that stuff is entertaining, but I still was way more drawn in by the Giants offseason for some reason. I don't know why. I'm really not sure, but yeah, it was good. All right, well, we will stop holding you guys here while we just have a conversation. It'd probably be better off the podcast.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to start anything else.
Not a problem, but if you enjoyed the episode, please make sure to leave a like, leave a comment. Go ahead and comment your NFC South standings, or your top 4 Premier League finishers, or your bottom 3 Premier League finishers. Comment, I hate Jaron Duran, if you'd like. And then and then of course, make sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications. Love the little Yankees helmet. And if you're on the podcast platforms, rate 5 stars, give us a follow there. Follow us on all of our social media. It's right down here at the bottom of the screen. Follow it or join the Second Shore subreddit, like we talked about at the beginning of the episode. Submit those questions by like 4 or 5 p.m. every day, Thursdays. And Luke, anything else for the people?
No, man, I'm ready to get out of here. Premier League starts tomorrow. Football's coming.
Oh yeah.
That's what the people got.
I know. I can't wait for it to be like, we're excited for the weekend. I can't wait for that. All right, guys. We will catch you next week. Enjoy the weekend. We'll see you here on Monday. SEC preview. Me and Colin. We'll catch you guys later. Peace.